stage, there's no indication as to when the tech will be rolled out or how much it would cost. Jailed US basketballer Brittany Griner has appealed her drug conviction in Russia. The two-time Olympic gold medalist was charged after cannabis-infused vape cartridges were found in her luggage at a Moscow airport earlier this year. And the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are heading back to the UK. Harry and Meghan's visit in the first week of September is being described as a show of support for several charities. They'll also visit Germany for an Invictus Games event in Dusseldorf. Now to 5AA Sport.
Order a Gliderol roller door and operator by September 30 for some free upgrades. Search Gliderol for details.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. Let's start with football. It's set to be a tense showdown 52 on Saturday night. Both the Crows and Power are out of finals contention, but we'll be looking to finish the year on a high. The local derby will be the first for Crows defender Patrick Parnell, and he can't wait to get out there.
I don't think we've won 2 showdowns in a year since 2017. It'll be a big test, and it's a pretty strong rivalry. We'd love to be playing finals, obviously, but yeah, we'd love to finish strongly Saturday night.
Meantime, plenty of turmoil at Essendon, where Coach Ben Rutten's tenure seems to be hanging by a thread. Well, let's go to soccer now, and plenty of drama in the English Premier League match between Crystal Palace and Liverpool this morning. The Reds trailed 1-0 and then lost their boom recruit Darwin Nunez just after half-time after he appeared to headbutt defender Joachim Andersen.
Andersen has now gone down. Darwin Nunez has been sent off. Milner's telling him to go. Or did he use his head in the wrong way? It's getting worse for Liverpool here. Andersen gave him a push. Well, you can't do that. Dear, oh dear.
Audio there, thanks to Optus. The Reds, though, have managed to find an equaliser with the 10 men, and it's now 1-1 with about 15 minutes to play. And Steph Gilmore is terrified but excited for the World Surf Tour event at a notorious reef break in Tahiti. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast, partly cloudy, 16 today, late showers tomorrow, 19, Thursday rain and 16, Friday showers and 15. Right now it's 9 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Thanks to the Credit Union SA term deposit account with great interest per annum. T's and C's apply.
6:05, good morning to you. Welcome to Tuesday on 5AA Breakfast. Coming up on the program this morning, we'll be chatting with Stuart O'Grady after 7 o'clock. Really exciting addition to the Tour Down Under for recreational riders. We'll be able to compete, be part of the official stages and closed off roads with all the sorts of accompaniments that go with being a professional rider. Sounds like it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. We'll talk to him about it after 7 o'clock today. Phil Curry in the nation's capital. Lots of discussion overnight and in the last 24 hours about the conduct of the former Prime Minister Scott Morrison with regard to being sworn in as effectively a second minister for a whole host of portfolios. We'll jump into that a little bit later in the morning as well. And also Dr. Louise Flood from the Communicable Disease Control Branch of SA Health on RSV, this respiratory illness that's sweeping through schools, primary schools, kindies at the moment. Lots of kids getting struck down with this, and we'll have a chat with her about it after 8 o'clock today. Food, fuel or the footy coming up a little bit later as well, thanks to Foodland. Your choice, 3 great prizes that you get to pick from, and we'll give that away before 9 o'clock. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. I'm excited by this Tour Down Under proposal. Might have to dust off the old Malvern Star that's in the... No, sorry, not Malvern Star, Ricardo. The old 10-speed Ricardo that I bought with my pocket money in 1984. It's in the back shed at Mum and Dad's.
I reckon it's a couple of levels above the old Malvern Star, with utmost respect
do you
to
have
the
to
old
be
bike.
You have to be able to keep up, do you?
No, you'd have to be able to keep up.
Genuine.
It's a hill. It's a genuine hill climb.
Haven't they got anything a bit flatter? I thought one of the benefits of living in Adelaide was that most of it's flat.
Norton Summit, Checker Hill, Corkscrew Road. I reckon you'll be struggling on the old Malvern Star.
See, I think they designed the map. The route is all wrong for these cycling races. Like, there's too many hills. There's plenty of parts of Adelaide, like, you know, when they're down at Wollonga, I think, why are they going up the hill? Why don't they just go down Malpas Road, because that's flat the whole way, turn left on a main road, you know, or turn right on a main road,
so
go down past Jungle in Wollonga, that excellent plant nursery, keep going, you got Wollonga School on your left, then you could turn right, you go to Aldinga, that's all flat.
Your
They
view of
shouldn't go up the hill.
your view of the Tour de France would be forget the Pyrenees.
Oh, no, not the
Instead,
Pyrenees.
there's a highway that goes between Paris and Lyon that's perfectly flat.
Well,
you could conduct the whole thing very sensibly.
There's a region of France that's beautiful. It's where the flamingos live, called the Camargue, down south, dead flat. It's where, they got cowboys in France. All down south. They wear these weird little bright blue embroidered shirts, but they're like the French sort of jackaroos.
Makes sense.
Except they'll go talk like this. It's hard to pull off being a jackaroo when you talk like that. But yeah, did you ever get into the cycling, Will?
No, not at all. Not really. I had a bike. One of my favourite birthday presents I ever got as a kid was a bike. You know, there's some memories of things you get that you really wanted for a long, long time, and then on the day, you can never match that excitement again as sort of a, 8, 9-year-old. And it was hidden behind a curtain, and I could make out the silhouette of it. My parents had sort of kept it hidden, and it was the greatest thrill of my life. But I didn't ever take to cycling as much as I took to the idea of cycling.
I really, really, really got into it. So much so that I didn't bother getting a driver's license until I was 22.
So
I used to
you were
ride
cycling,
everywhere.
what, to uni?
Yeah, I used to cycle from Mum and Dad's in Mitchell Park into the market for work at like 6 o'clock in the morning. That was about a 12k ride.
This is the minimum ride you can do on this one's 83 k's.
Well, that's a bit too far.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about.
Not doing that.
This is your real
minimum.
enthusiast. Yeah, the longer one's 123.5.
Who's up for it? How many of our listeners have done this? I wonder if any of our listeners have rediscovered something in later life that they're really into when they were a kid. Because if I was going to do anything along those lines,
You get back
it'd
into
be
cycling.
Yeah,
That'd be your fitness kick.
no, it'd be fun. It's good fun. Good fun riding a bike.
It was easy. I mean, I say this having literally no experience or expertise whatsoever, but I imagine it's got to be easier these days, doesn't it? Because you've got
Bikes are lighter.
dedicated bike lanes and
Oh yeah.
you've got the infrastructure's built around people being able to ride bikes.
Oh, for sure. Like, one generation ago, riding a bike in Adelaide, there were no bike lanes. There were none. There were 0 bike lanes. There were paths through parks and things like that. But I can remember riding along Marion Road, and cars would clip you. Like, it'd really keep your wits about you. It's not like it is now. Well, I mean, it's still extremely dangerous, but relatively speaking. But the lanes have made life 10 times better, provided, you don't have half-wit drivers who open the door without looking and what have you. So, Scott Morrison, what's the most jobs you've ever had, Will?
I think 3 I tapped out at.
Yeah. I technically got 3 now, I guess.
Yes, you do.
The Oz columns in here.
Yes, you do.
But the thing is,
How much work was he
I'm
actually
quite
doing?
upfront about all of them.
Well, we're going to talk about this in depth now or later, because I actually think so much of this story is much ado about nothing.
Do you?
Yes.
Well, you know what I think the worst part of the story is? His text message yesterday to Sky News saying,
Oh, he's hasn't been following the news.
well, no, he takes no part in day-to-day politics anymore. Well, all right, mate. If that's the case, we'll stop paying you.
Yeah, I think that is extraordinary, that statement.
It's really a stupid thing to say.
Yeah. We'll talk about it. Phil Curry's coming up after 7:30. I find it hard to divorce the whole... He did this crazy thing, and it was all clandestine and secret. Yeah, when it happened, March 2020, yeah. So, yeah, I know, what was he trying to do? The shadow government. I don't know. There was something pretty significant happening in March 2020 that necessitated a little bit of weirdness in the world.
We might have found the only person in Australia who's going to defend him over
I'm
this.
happy
This is gonna
to.
be good.
And I can do so freely. I've been no Scott Morrison defender over the journey. But I think...
Well, I've been no Scott Morrison basher, but on this I reckon he had a shocker.
Oh,
I think it's bizarre.
Well, yeah, but you know what was happening? So March 2020, you've got... This is like Tom Hanks got COVID in Australia period, when the AFL stopped and all the sporting leagues around the world stopped and everything stopped. And there's no vaccine, and there's no sense of how bad a control this is. We're only hearing about it in Italy and in China. And you're having to do weird stuff like, say, what if my cabinet all dies? How do we assure continuity of government?
That wasn't his motivation. It was him thinking, oh, Greg Hunt's getting too much power.
Do you reckon that's what he was thinking in March 2020?
Yeah, I think so. I've read the extract from Benson's book yesterday where he's talking about the lead up to the COAG meeting where suddenly all the premiers are saying, all right, we're going to stop this, this, this and this, and he's going, ScoMo's head's spinning and he's thinking, well, all the ultimate power needs to rest with me, so I'm going to secretly put myself in charge of the entire country, effectively. He wanted his hands on the levers of health and finance through taking over from Matthias Cormann. And the thing is, he didn't tell them about it.
No, well, if you follow my view of this is March 2020, extraordinary arrangements being made to keep government alive, basically, because who knew what it was going to look like within a few months, and broadcasting to the world, hey, I've got this special arrangement in place because I'm fearing like lots of people are going to die, including those in my own government. Probably wasn't the kind of thing that was sellable at that point in time.
It just feels very Latin American to me. Like there's,
yeah, but okay, can I just ask this?
The one strong man is going to run the country.
But I'm happy to ask this of everyone.
Kim Jong ScoMo.
I'm happy to be on an island on this. So do we think the whole pandemic starting is just a coincidence at that time? It had nothing to do with this.
No, I think that was clearly the backdrop to it.
So the part of this that I think I'm critical of him is there was a bit of cuteness around the whole New South Wales gas, Keith Pitt as the resource minister part of it. Reid kind of overruled him and was able to do it because he was also the resource minister. And typically you'd have to roll your minister to get that done. That was being cute, I think, with the unique arrangements. But I just can't divorce it from what was going on at that time in that moment. If it happened in March 2014, I would have gone, well, that's totally ridiculous. But it was March 2020. This is the peak of the mania of COVID started kicking in.
I think that in a way makes it more sinister.
I just...
You know me, I'm not some conspiracy theorist. I think it's just it's a total rewriting of the way government's meant to work under the Westminster system. But, you know, things like that shouldn't happen on the quiet, I don't think. Like, all the arguments you make are kind of sound, I think. So why not make them in public?
Because at that point in time, they were trying to make sure there wasn't mass panic in the country. And if the motivation was... Now, if
that's a risky path to go down.
But if the motivation...
In fact, that again is like quite a, you know, government should only tell people what's good for them thing.
Yeah, but it's a contingency plan, isn't it?
This could be a long 3 hours, folks. It's going to get ugly.
This is good. Automaster's text line. So
it's 50-50 already.
50-50. I'm on another planet for someone and another one, Lorraine. Lorraine. Thank you, Lorraine. Lorraine's with me. So there's two of us on this planet, Lorraine.
I like this one from Rob about the tour down under. Dave, dust off the bike, get some new pegs and playing cards and a new big orange flag in your set. Might get the old chopper handlebars out of the shed.
That would be a good look.
Go back to the full BMX period. And Anne from Millswood says, morning, Dave.
Andre.
Sorry, Andre. I am actually going to the optometrist next week. I need some more high-powered specs. Apologies, Andre. Morning, Dave and Will. I know a fellow who every year at the tour down under dons his lycras, grabs his helmet, heads down to the East End to catch up with his mates for a latte, and he told me this year that he's thinking about buying a bike at some stage.
Good on you, Andre. I wonder if people is our producer Sam and his father's a very enthusiastic cycler, have gone and cycled the Bend racetrack where they open it up and you can go and ride the length of it. Gives you some sense of the size of these things too, because race cars go around them in a couple of minutes and then it turns out to be a hell of a long ride. But a lot of riding enthusiasts will go to opportunities like that, which might be more up your alley, David, because it's not a climb per se. It's more of a flat, sort of
velodrome type thing,
structured kind of arrangement.
That sounds a lot better.
No, I would much rather go in hills than a velodrome. Have you been to the velodrome? Have you seen the angle of that thing?
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
It is insane.
Yeah.
That looks terrifying to me. At least on a hill, you just go slow.
Yeah. Listen, nice pair of horse bags. There's probably real cyclists listening going, is there anything these guys don't want changed about cycling?
17 after 6. At least texts are excellent. We're going to get to some of these in a moment. This is very funny. 0448 08 1395, Automaster's text line, and some news headlines for you next.
Hey, it's Callum here. Looking for something small, medium or large? Edwardstown Mazda have most models in stock, ready to drive away. You can feel confident in the team at Edwardstown Mazda.
It's gotta be
edwardstownmazda.com.au, LNVD 207428.
Gliderol has manufactured and installed garage doors in SA since 1974, and their commitment to quality is as strong as ever. So if it's time for a new look for your house or time to upgrade, why not now? Order a new roller door, sectional door or customer designer door with operator by December 30th and you'll receive a free premium operator upgrade and 2 bonus handsets. For a free measure and quote and helpful advice, search Gliderol today. Retail customers only, T's and C's apply.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. National Tiles Trade Club members have a competitive edge. Yes, tilers and builders who are members of the National Tiles Trade Club have a very significant competitive edge. With over 35 National Tiles trade stores, plus an amazing online trade store, National Tiles is always close at hand. So if you're a tiler or a builder, join the National Tiles Trade Club for a competitive edge today at nationaltiles.com.au now.
Not long now, Adelaide. Your favourite Harris scarf reopens with a brand spanking new look 9 a.m. next Thursday at Westfield Marion. You'll want to be there early for the one-off doorbuster deals, unmissable grand opening offers, celebrations, free coffee to fuel your shopping marathon, and gift vouchers up for grabs. And did we mention the doorbuster deals? Block your diaries, tell your friends. Harris Scarf, Westfield Marion. Grand reopening 9 a.m. next Thursday.
Get in here. It's Sheeds. We don't have the time to mess around. We can't afford any more downtime, and we need a result. It's about trust, and for hydraulic hose repairs, Ryco 24/7 are the ones. They'll get to you wherever you are. Their vans are on the road with fully qualified repairers, and they are supported by that other great South Australian team, BL Shipway, who I've known for over 30 years. Call Ryco 24/7 on 133247 or visit ryco247.com.au.
A train travelling at 100 kilometres per hour needs the length of 2 football ovals to stop. Trains can't stop quickly. You can. Stand back, look up, stay rail safe. A message from the Government of South Australia.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
For an interest rate that really pays, consider a Credit Union SA term deposit account. T's and C's apply.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
20 after 6. So Sam has just corrected my notion that the Bend racetrack is flat on a bike. Looks flat on TV in a car. Apparently in a bike, not so flat.
Oh, really?
A lot of hard work, the old Bend racetrack.
Okay.
We're talking cycling this morning. Stuart O'Grady coming up after 7 o'clock. Let's get to some of the news headlines. A pedestrian was hit by a car last night at Hackham West. Paramedics were called to Honeypot Road just after 7. Major crash investigations have started. 2 Australian universities have made the top 50 unis in the world in the latest academic rankings of world universities. Melbourne University came in at 32nd, and the University of Queensland is ranked 47th. The University of Adelaide was ranked between 101st and 150th. The top university in the world, what would your guess be?
I would say it is... I'd probably say Oxford or Cambridge instinctively.
It's Harvard.
Harvard, yeah, right, okay.
Harvard in Boston.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder, we should actually have a look at this soon. One of Premier Malinowskis' promises was a university merger. I wonder what's been going on behind the scenes with that, because the plan, he's resuscitated the plan to merge Adelaide Uni and the University of South Australia, which I think makes good sense. It almost came off a few years back, but as these things often do, came down to largely a quibble over what it was going to be called. Well, I think the Adelaide Uni, and I say this is about my alma mater, you can very much imagine them with their, biscuit-coloured buildings and all sitting around there in the university hall there on North Terrace saying, well, there's no way we're changing our name.
There's got to be more to it than that. I remember, I read the stories, but it can't have gotten to the... This is a good idea.
That was a really big part of it.
Yeah, but isn't that sad? The smartest people going around going, all their financials stack up, and we're going to be better off, better education.
No, I think it's actually quite understandable, and I'd probably show an Adelaide Uni bias here. I sort of think they can argue quite validly that they should keep the name. Like, you think about the way universities are associated. It's got the longest tradition to trade on. So from a marketing perspective, it's got that advantage. And people overseas go, did you go to Sydney Uni or Melbourne Uni or Adelaide Uni? Like, UniSA's only been UniSA for, 25 years? But But equally, UniSA will say, well, why should we doff our caps to Adelaide Uni? And we've built up a great reputation for vocationally driven teaching. To which Adelaide might say, yes, but we're synonymous with research, and that's where the money is. This is how these things fall apart. Well, this is why arguing so,
yes, so
dangerous.
Oh, yes.
You ScoMo.
Oh, yeah, me. I'm a classic ScoMo apologist. I'll tell you who isn't. Malcolm Turnbull, former Prime Minister.
This guy.
But this is a different issue. I was just trying to segue. I'm segueing to a different Malcolm Turnbull grab. He was opposed to the idea of a voice to Parliament during his time in Parliament, saying he was not in a strong enough position to bring about the idea previously, but he's admitted he's changed his mind as the voice was not desirable at the time.
This is the biggest change to our Constitution in my lifetime, and it will change the way our Parliament operates. So people shouldn't imagine this is symbolism. I believe our parliamentary democracy can handle it, but it will be a big change.
This guy is, him and Rudd, dead set. It's always about them. When he opposed the voice, as Prime Minister, used the authority of his office to deny Indigenous Australians a chance to have something that they'd come together and advocated for so passionately in the Uluru Statement. It was all about him. He got spooked and he thought, oh no, if I back this, the right will knock me off. I want to keep my job. The guy did more damage than anyone to the voice because he was out there railing against it, saying it's a third chamber. He coined the term third chamber. And now he's here to help. He's not here to help. And the main reason is on the 7:30 report last night. He wanted to take a pot shot at Scott Morrison. Which he did with glee.
He absolutely did. Rent a quote. 16 the expected top today. It's about 9.1 degrees outside at the moment. Notably, today it's going to be dry. We've had the wettest August we've had in some 3 years to this point in time, albeit not yet at the average rainfall for the month. Top of 19 tomorrow with a mil of rain, and then we'll get closer to that average on Thursday, up to 15 mils of rain, possibly up to 4 on Friday and another 3 on Saturday. Let's talk sport. Tom Wren in the 5AA Breakfast Studio. It was a massive day in the world of footy for the last 24 hours. Order a Gliderol roller door by September 30. And you could get free upgrade. Search Gliderol for details. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning to you, Will. Morning, David. Yes, it has been huge. We'll get to that shortly. Liverpool fans, I know there are a lot of them. 1-1 with about 30 seconds to play, deep in stoppage time against Crystal Palace at home. Their star striker, Darwin Nunez, who we spoke about, worth $100 million, sent off for headbutting. So he's had a disastrous start to his
headbutting.
Little bloke niggled him from behind. He turned around and thought, I don't like that, and he decided to give him the old Liverpool kiss. Now, it wasn't one of the worst ones I've seen, but he'll get 3 weeks. He'll get 3 matches.
Where's he from, Nunez? Spain? Or is he South American?
I think he's South American, but I'm not sure from
right. Sounds like he's got
where
a touch
exactly.
of the Luis Suarez is about him.
Well, he does. He's Uruguayan.
Okay.
Quite literally has the Luis Suarez about him.
So I'll let you know the final score, but it looks, in fact, it's just gone 1-1. So they're still without a win to start the season. Bit of a slow start for Liverpool, and now without their star striker. Huge day in the AFL world. I mean, wow, 24 hours. It kind of sums up their last 15 years, Essendon, doesn't it?
Don't you reckon? I was thinking about this morning about with Nixie at the Crows.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing scarier in the world than being a first-time AFL coach. Because if it doesn't work, you're stuffed for life, aren't you? Like, it's a cruel business.
It's brutal.
Not too many get a second. Michael Voss got a second chance.
I think it's just starting to change. And in the Premier League, which I've just spoken about, they often do recycle coaches. You know, they do get another chance. But Voss, Brett Ratton. And that's more than I can remember, than recently. Ones that didn't work, they never come back usually.
There's more people like Gary Ayres kicking around in the Where Are They Now files. He only had the one go, didn't he?
No, he had
Geelong and then the Crows.
Oh, of course. He was at the Cats then.
But there's a stigma that suddenly gets attached to you, though. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
It's hard to come back from, isn't it? So, look, what happens in the next 24 hours? It appears as though Ben Rutten is hanging by a thread. And then what does that do in terms of the coaching magnets elsewhere? If that pushes North Melbourne out of the way, if, he then gets courted by Essendon, what do North Melbourne do? Do they...
Look, if you're Alistair Clarkson, you'd be excited by the prospect of coaching the club that had the fan base of getting towards 100,000, wouldn't you?
I reckon I'd pick North, though, in terms
lower
of the job.
Expectations.
No, I reckon they've got some elite young talent in that list. And I'm not convinced about Essendon.
Bit of romance with him too, being a former player.
Yes, absolutely.
Although I think, David, you're probably
I reckon
right.
the last thing you want to do at North Melbourne is go to an old players get together.
Yeah, they haven't been going well lately, have they?
How's your missus? Yeah, good. Yeah.
Anyway, how about this weather, eh?
Get on, you ready?
Thanks, boys.
Order a glider, a roller door, an operator, should I say, by September 30 for some free upgrades. Search Glider Roll for details.
Introducing the Kia Cars of the Year. The Kia Cars of the Year. The fully electric Kia EV6. The Wheels Car of the Year. And the Drive Car of the Year. The Kia Sportage. To pick your side in this sibling rivalry, visit kia.com.au.
Kia. Movement that inspires.
The Haval Jolyon is a smart SUV. The design is sharp and the technology genius. But the really smart feature is the driver. Someone savvy enough to demand more and get it. Haval Jolyon. Smart move.
Now, if you're fitting out a workshop, your shed, your rooms around the home, your backyard with extra storage, well, forget the flat pack. We're only denouncing those peddlers of flat packs yesterday. Go Sharman Shelving all the way.
That's right. And here's the thing we all love about Sharman Shelving. It's all done for you. It's not flat packed, so you're not going to sit there for hours trying to find, part A, and that's meant to go into C, and then B. Well, what does that look like? It's a squiggle. I don't have a squiggle here. Maybe I don't even have it at all. It could be missing.
And where's my Allen key?
Yes.
Call Sharman Shelving. They'll come out, give you a free measuring quote, then deliver and assemble it all for you.
Or if you want to assemble it yourself, they'll give you all the support you need.
That's right. When it comes to storage solutions, everybody needs a little Sharman in their life. 412 North East Road, Windsor Gardens, sharmanshelving.com.au, or take a look on Facebook.
In parts of Norway, it's not uncommon for homeowners to find a polar bear in their driveway. And in Adelaide, polar bear sightings are on the rise thanks to Polar Air Heating and Cooling. The only bear you'll see is on the side of our vans. For a home as cool as a Norwegian chalet, call Polar Air Heating and Cooling for professional and prompt installation. Polar Air Heating and Cooling. When your lair is unbearable. polarairhc.com.au.
Terry White Chemmart has real deals on our ibuprofen 96 tablets at just $13.99. Plus, Demazin 12-hour decongestant nasal spray 20ml 2-pack for $11.89. Get real deals every day at Terry White Chemmart. Always follow the directions for use. Ends August 23.
Do you still love your car? Why not take it to Edwardstown Mazda to see what it's really worth? It's the safest and easiest way to move your car on and get into a new or used Mazda. 862 South Road, Edwardstown.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 16 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Looking for the perfect winter exercise? Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates at 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
A 63-year-old man was taken to hospital last night in a critical condition after being hit by a car. It happened on Honeypot Road at Hackham West shortly after 7. The driver, a 34-year-old Morphett Vale man, was not injured and is assisting police with their inquiries. Cabinet will meet in Canberra today in the wake of the Scott Morrison revelations. Anthony Albanese has ordered a search for documents authorising the former Prime Minister to take joint control of at least 3 portfolios during the pandemic. It's been revealed Mr Morrison secretly held health, finance and resource portfolios as well as the nation's top job. Scientists are calling on the federal government to name and fame the sectors leading the charge to reduce emissions. Science and Technology Australia wants to see the commitment added to climate change legislation, along with adjustments to the annual climate change statement to Parliament. Chief Executive Misha Schubert says it would offer benefits for the wider community.
So that we share the gains, we speed momentum, we make that transition that we know we need to make on climate as efficient, as effective and as cost effective as possible for our country.
The UK is the first country to develop a dual COVID vaccine targeting the first strain of the virus and the Omicron variant. The Moderna vaccine will be administered as a booster shot, with clinical trials showing a good immune response to both variants. Moderna UK's General Manager, Darius Hughes, says it's a busy virus that's been mutating since its inception.
What this vaccine helps to do is it gives us another piece of armoury, really, another tool in the box, so that we can go after it and make sure that we're protecting the British public over this autumn and winter when they get their boosters against the ever-evolving production and the ever-evolving virus.
Jailed US basketballer Brittany Griner has appealed her drug conviction in Russia. The two-time Olympic gold medalist was charged after cannabis-infused vape cartridges were found in her luggage. High-level negotiations between the US and Russia to return her home are underway. Prince Harry and Meghan are returning to the UK and Germany next month. Brett McLeod has more.
The Duke and Duchess of Sussex are taking part in 3 charity events in Britain and Germany early next month. One involving the Invictus Games, the others involving young people and seriously ill children. There's no word on whether they'll meet the Queen or any members of the royal family while here. And Harry is still involved in legal action to get a right to hire police protection while they're in Britain.
And the local Elvis Presley fan club has put a tribute in today's paper to mark 45 years since the King left the building. Elvis was 42. Fans from around the world will take part in the annual candlelight vigil at Graceland later this morning. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Order a Glider Roll roller door by September 30 and you could get free upgrades. Search Glider Roll for details.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Let's start with footy. A quiet day for the Crows and Port Adelaide ahead of their showdown on Saturday night. If the Crows win, it will be 26-all in the head-to-head between the two teams. Well, there's another day of turmoil ahead at the Essendon Football Club. Amid reports coach Ben Rutten could go. The Bombers hoping to recruit Alistair Clarkson amid a full-scale review. Christina Hearn is at Essendon HQ.
The axe has already swung at Essendon. The question is, will the coach be the next to go? In a day of drama, club president Paul Brasher was replaced by former TV executive David Burham after the Bombers' 84-point thrashing at the hands of Port Adelaide on Sunday. Burham declaring it a line-in-the-sand moment with an external review announced. Coach Ben Rutten is now hanging on by a thread, with the Bombers set to join the race to secure the services of 4-time Premiership coach Alistair Clarkson, who's being heavily courted by the Kangaroos, with GWS also in the hunt.
To soccer now, and a 10-man Liverpool has had to do it the hard way, coming from a goal down to draw with Crystal Palace 1-1 at home. The Reds trailed 1-0 at the half-time and then lost star striker Darwin Núñez. That's after he was sent off for headbutting. But they still salvaged a point thanks to a brilliant solo run and finish from Luis Diaz.
Oh, and that's the way to do it. Luis Diaz comes up with an absolute perler. And suddenly the mood changes at Anfield. Brilliant goal.
Certainly was. That audio thanks to Optus. Liverpool now with 2 draws to open their campaign. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast, heading for a top of 16 for your Tuesday and partly cloudy. Late showers tomorrow 19, then Thursday rain 16, Friday showers 15. Right now it's 9 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
For an interest rate that really pays, consider a Credit Union SA term deposit account. T's and C's apply.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
.24 minutes to 7. Police and weather coming up shortly. Stuart O'Grady after 7 o'clock. How about this? The World Dive Chess Championships have just wrapped up in London. A Polish contender took out the title. Dive chess championships are exactly what they sound like. Contestants have to think underwater. You can't come up until you've made your move.
You're kidding.
So that
who invented this?
Sounds like my worst nightmare.
This sounds like something that one of my mates would have invented on a houseboat in 1989.
See, you've got to hold your breath. You got to look at the board.
Right,
You've got to assess it.
Here's the plan, man. So, right, you got to jump off the boat, holding the chessboard.
Oh, what a horrible thought.
That's a big win for the polls, though.
Yeah, it feels like the kind of thing a poll would be good at. I don't know why. Just have this gut. It's just strange enough that Polish people go, yeah, all right, that sounds good. Let's do it. What do we do? Underwater?
What's the swimming like? Well, are the beaches any good in, what is it, Gdansk? That's where old Lech Walesa did his
That's right.
Solidarność back in the day.
Yeah, I think it's more sort of port, sort of,
The Polish Riviera.
It'd be more like Port Adelaide than I think Henley Beach if we were placing it. But I'm sure there are some spots. Barbara and Glenelg's called in. Morning to you, Barbara.
Good morning, and how are you?
Good.
Just to let you know that down Anzac Highway, going to the bay and going into town, there were 2 lanes there. That's why the footpaths were so wide. There was a footpath and a bike path.
For cycling?
Yes.
Oh, actually, no, now that you mention it, Barbara, of course. There wasn't one on Marion Road, though, but when you got onto Anzac Highway, because that was why I used to come into town, Marion Road, Anzac Highway, it was always, you'd get to Anzac Highway and you're like, now this is good. I got some room at last.
The footpaths were so wide on each side.
Are you a keen cyclist, Barbara?
No, but I've lived at the bay all my life.
Well, lucky you.
Nice part of the world.
So that's why the footpaths were so wide.
Good on you, Barbara. Thank you for that. 8223 I've been talking a lot about cycling in anticipation of that conversation with Stuart O'Grady. Lovely picture that came through from Andy, Tiddy Beach, from Ardross Jetty. It's just absolutely spectacular.
What about the mountain of text we've got about ScoMo, Will?
Let's do it. Automaster's text line. I'm getting the visceral thrill of being a hot take person.
All right,
I know
quite a lot of people are agreeing with you.
I get why people do it.
Morning, Dave and Will. I know, you're the new Kane Corns. We know you're listening, Kane.
It would be exhausting to try and come up with a really controversial thing to say every day. It's better when they happen accidentally.
How am I going on Twitter here? Here's one from Trish, who signs off as a tired teacher from Highgate. I agree 100% with Will. This smacks of trying to divert our attention from the big issues facing Australia, like adequately staffing aged care and education. Thank you, Trish. Chris says, Will, I find your argument regarding ScoMo as being flawed. If he was truly concerned about losing cabinet ministers to COVID, then good management dictates that every minister should have a different backup rather than relying on a single point of failure. Yeah, good point, Chris. I mean, what if he decided to go to Hawaii? There would have been 4 portfolios that weren't being looked after. Trevor says, this is a good point, Trevor, and the Oz makes this point in his editorial today. I'm not sure which one of you was defending Morrison's decision on the basis of what was happening in March 2020, but the Oz is reporting that Morrison also appointed himself to take control of the Department of Industry, Science, Energy and Resources in April 2021.
Yeah, well, I made that point right at the start.
Yeah.
I said the whole thing he did with Keith Pitt to get the gas operation closed down
to win seats in the Hunter Valley
was beyond cute. Yeah, that was wrong.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and maybe.
But doesn't that go to the point that what's the old saying? Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Maybe that's an example of having secretly taken over finance from Matthias Cormann, and in a nudge, wink, wink arrangement with Greg Hunt, also ultimately taken charge of health. He got a bit of a taste for it?
Well, yeah, maybe. All I'm saying is that the thinking at the time, I don't think, was having won an increased majority 10 months earlier, thinking, you know what I need to do is take control of the country.
That was a bit too rude about ScoMo. Let's not bring his religion into it. Someone here says, David, it's like the camp. Nobody cares what happened 2 years ago. We still talking about that damn thing? Keep them coming, folks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Troy on Facebook says, Will, you're wrong. I'd stop digging a hole. We like, no one's wrong. We just have different opinions.
Is the Governor-General wrong, I'd ask? Because the Governor-General signed off on this.
Well, there's different views, depending on which constitutional law expert you talk to. Labor's saying that this is like the most atrocious thing that happened since General Pinochet took over in Santiago. They've got to be careful they don't look like they're...
I think they've over-egged it massively.
Well, yeah,
but there's a ready audience for people. I'm not, and look, a lot of people making reasonable points, who have this sort of weird Scott Morrison derangement syndrome, where the moment he comes up, you know, what's the issue? Well, what was Scott Morrison's position on it?
Well, yeah, but his comment is so totally inadequate. I'm not involved in day-to-day politics
completely.
anymore.
This is I'm no fan of. I'm no
He
fan of the guy.
He sounds like Chaz in the Wedding Crashers now. He's just sitting around at home in his dressing gown.
I'm
the meatloaf.
That is an
I'm not going to
appalling comment.
Parliament.
That's an appalling comment. Just retire if you're not interested in politics anymore.
Yes.
Completely appalling.
Hey, we've got an Ugs to You voucher, folks, and you can call in about the former Prime Minister. You can call in about anything. Any thoughts on any subject?
Peter's called in. Morning to you, Peter.
Morning. There's a bike club that's been going since the 60s, the old Skid Kids at Findon, founded by, I think, Mick Harley. I think he died. They're still going today. You know, the Skid Kid bike?
Yeah, I think he did die, Peter. But you're right.
But, you know, it's a great organisation. It's still going today, I think.
Yeah, no, they did a great job, the old Findon Skid Kids.
Legendary in the West.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
All right. It's coming up to 17 minutes to 7. We'll check traffic and come back with police and weather in just a moment.
Morning, gents. Got a few burst water mains to look out for on the drive-in today. One at McGill, Penfold Road near McGill Road. Another one at Highgate too. This one's Fullerton Road just before Crossroad. It's down to 40 k's affecting both directions and does get pretty busy throughout the morning too. At Wingfield, to find the railway terrace crossing closed for work. It's got detours in place there at the moment, and we're starting to get busy south road as you're driving through Mile End. Cameras to look out for include Hindley Beach Road, Hindley Beach South, and Maxwell Terrace, Acklenhills East. Order or see coffee on the OTR app and enjoy a freshly ground barista-made coffee. It's as easy as click and collect. OTR, making life easy. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
With fuel prices the way they are, it's now more important than ever for your car to be fuel efficient. Peak performance means peak efficiency, and that means Automasters. Book now for an Automasters Peak Performance Injector Service. Petrol or diesel, your Automasters specialist will clean and service your fuel injection system to ensure your vehicle is running at optimum efficiency. Save fuel, save money. Get the best out of your car. Call 1300 Automasters. Peak performance guaranteed.
If you're due for a service, here's a little reminder of what you get at Mawson Lakes Mazda. Sure, your car gets state-of-the-art servicing by top-trained mechanics. But what do you get? Try next-day servicing, complimentary loan car, vacuum and wash. Oh, and your breakfast or lunch is on us. At Mawson Lakes Mazda, we know that to be the best, we've got to look after your car and look after you. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
FIVEAA is offering a 10% discount on new comprehensive car or home insurance, because the more you save, the more you can enjoy retirement, like taking salsa classes. That's FIVEAA value. Call FIVEAA today on 13 50 50 to discover even more ways to save. T's and C's apply. Offer available until 30 October 22. Some optional extras excluded from discount. FIVEAA is an authorised representative of AAI Limited, the product issuer. Read the PDS before buying this insurance. Call for copy. TMD also available.
Summer's coming and Beaumont's great outdoor range has just arrived. We're stocked up with pool tiles and pavers, outdoor 20mm porcelain tiles, and our inside-outside Microtech tile is perfect for a seamless alfresco area. Choose Beaumont's and be summer ready.
With fuel prices the way they are, fuel efficiency is more important than ever. And that means a peak performance injector service from Automasters. Ensure your vehicle is running at optimum efficiency. Save fuel, save money. Call 1300 Automasters. 9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Thanks to the Credit Union SA term deposit account with great interest per annum. T's and C's apply.
15 to 7. Let's talk weather. Senior forecaster at the Bureau, John Fisher's on the line. John, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys.
So it sounds like we're getting close to our August rainfall average, but not quite there yet.
Yeah, that's right. I've had about 50 millimetres in the city so far this month, and obviously only halfway through the month, so chance of, getting up above that average, which is around the 65 or 70 millimetres there. So, and with more rain to come this week, it looks like, we'll go close to that. But starting today, looking like a dry and partly cloudy day for most places. There is just a couple of light showers on the radar pushing up through those western and northern suburbs at the moment. But, going to be pretty brief and light, but should clear up later this morning. maybe even the odd fog patch around those northern suburbs, but again, that won't last too long. So, yeah, looking at a partly cloudy day, 16 degrees in the city, the same at Glenelg and Noarlunga, going for 15 up at Elizabeth.
And John, there's some big rain coming on the way on Thursday by the looks of things.
Yeah, that's right. There is another front moving through, so could pick up a bit on Thursday, probably in the second half of the day. Even tomorrow, there's maybe just a chance of a shower or two around for parts of the day, but most likely into the evening. So. Winds tending northerly on Wednesday there, with the temperature up to 19 degrees, but we will see a bit of high cloud around at times as well, and maybe just one or two light spots. Yeah, on Thursday that front looks like it moves through, and it looks like a reasonable amount of rain, maybe 8 to even 15 millimetres by the end of today, but most of that probably in the second half of the day there, and then showers continuing for Friday before easing over the weekend, guys.
Good on you, John. Thanks, you. John Fisher, Senior Forecaster at the Bureau. Let's head to SAPOL. Senior Constable Matt Brown joins us. Matt, we started our news headlines this morning with the story about the pedestrian being hit by a car at Hackham. What have you guys learnt from the incident?
Well, major crash investigators are still examining the circumstances of what happened, Will. Just after 7 p.m. last night, patrols and paramedics were called to Honeypot Road after a pedestrian was struck by a grey Toyota sedan. And the 63-year-old Walkerville man was taken to the Flinders Medical Centre in a critical condition. And major crash officers, as we mentioned, are investigating the circumstances of the crash. The driver of the sedan, a 34-year-old Morford Vale man, wasn't injured and is assisting police with their inquiry. So we're still appealing for witnesses to come forward. Or anyone who may have been travelling in the area around 7 p.m. last night, please call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Matt, also, 3 people have been arrested at Highbury. What's the story there?
That's right, David. Just after 1:30 p.m. yesterday, patrols and emergency services were called to Lower North East Road after a stolen white Camry had crashed into a Mazda sedan, pushing it into oncoming traffic on the other side of the road. And the Mazda then crashed into a bronze Toyota sedan. And the driver of the Camry and his female passenger were seen by witnesses to run away from the scene. And investigations by police led them to a house at Paravista, where they located and arrested both the driver and his passenger. So the 30-year-old man from Ingle Farm, who is allegedly the driver of the vehicle, and a 23-year-old woman from Goodwood were charged with numerous offences, including illegal use of a motor vehicle. And while at the Paravista address, police also located a 27-year-old woman from Paravista who was arrested on an outstanding warrant. So the driver of the Mazda, a 31-year-old woman from Northfield, and the driver of the Toyota, a 41-year-old woman from Greenwith, were thankfully not injured, but the stolen white Camry was taken from a break-in at a Prospect address on Friday, so investigations are ongoing there.
And also, Matt, there was an indecent assault at Aberfoyle Park.
That's right, David. Just after 5 p.m. on Sunday the 14th of August, a 15-year-old girl was walking along a trail near the Happy Valley Sports Club Oval, just near Brook Drive, when a man called out to her before following her into Brook Drive Reserve, where he allegedly indecently assaulted her. The victim fought off the man and she ran away, but patrols were quickly on scene, but a search of the area failed to locate the man, who's described as being of Caucasian appearance, about 20 years old, slim build, about 180 centimetres tall, with short light brown hair and blue eyes, and was wearing a dark jacket and pants and black shoes. So anyone who may have seen a man matching this description in the area is asked to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Good on you, Matt.
Good on you, Matt. Senior Constable Matt Brown from SAPOL. Hero of the week time. Start with Lucy. Back on deck this week. Morning to you, Luce.
Morning, everyone. I'm going to flesh out the Dive Chess Championships.
Oh, please do.
I'm going to award my Hero of the Week to 2 people involved with this. The first one is the creator of Dive Chess. His name is Ethan Ilfeld. He is an American. He wanted to incorporate a physical element to make the game of chess even more challenging. He started playing chess when he was 4 years old, and he is a chess master. He now lives in England. So thank you, Ethan Ilfeld, for inventing Dive Chess.
What a line of thinking. Does anyone ever watch the 100-metre sprint and thought there needs to be an academic component to this?
Do the sprint and play a round of checkers at the end?
Exactly right. Right in the middle of it. You've got to sit down and
do 2 hurdles, play chess, do the rest.
So it invites creative thought about what other games could be merged. I mean, what about UFC backgammon? Imagine that. If you played backgammon but you were inside an octagon, and if someone tried to block out the back part of the board, with all the doubles, line them up so that you couldn't actually get in to start bearing off, is kick him in the face.
I mean, Monopoly is a much more dumbed down version of that, because that can get quite physical.
Yeah, well, that's a good point, Luce.
A short game of Monopoly is only 90 minutes according to the instruction book, so that lends itself to some physical awareness.
Yeah.
The other prize I'm giving mine to is the actual winner. His name is Mikhail Mazurkiewicz from Poland. Sorry, Will, about that pronunciation. He's 33 years old and he beat South African Alan Decker in the grand final of the Dive Chess Championships. The championship ran for 4 hours on Sunday. 10 players dived and strategized at the Leonardo Royal Hotel pool in London. The winner says, I think that 60% is chess and 40% is like other skills, swimming, keeping your body controlled, your pressure and your breath. So
Wonder what the
good
longest
on
they
you,
can stay under
Mikkel.
for is.
What's the record? 4 minutes? Record for holding your breath?
Yes, and that only just happened in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I watched it was a free dive down 120 metres along a rope.
So I reckon there'd be people in like
Oh,
Sulawesi and that who can do it for much longer than that. What about those pearl divers that they used to get from the Makassars who'd come down from Indonesia and they worked in the pearl industry in Broome?
24 minutes.
Yeah, it's
37
really
seconds.
long. Some of them
gosh.
can have a totally different way of breathing.
Well, as we said before, dive
24
chess
minutes.
is like
Yeah,
normal
yeah.
chess, so at least they can dive down, make their move, and then come back up for air. So all the pieces are magnetic. So thankfully, you don't have to hold your breath and play a full round of chess underwater.
Okay.
Now that's a real
In all
tricky
seriousness, if
situation.
you want to read a really interesting book that covers Australia's sort of colonial past and also looks at the White Australia policy, but how it played out, I can't remember the name of the author, but there's a brilliant book called The White Pearl Divers of Broome, because when the White Australia policy was brought in, the pearl industry in Western Australia tried to get an exemption because all of their divers predominantly came from Indonesia and the Philippines, and they're obviously, indigenous people or native people from those countries. So Western Australia said, no, we want to get an exemption from the White Australia policy. And the federal government said, no, one in, all in, you guys have to start employing white divers. So they got all these British Navy divers brought out from England and said to them, okay, down you go, get the pearls, and they all started dropping dead. They killed about 8 blokes.
Yikes.
It's a phenomenal story. Anyway, well, we digress.
Hero of the week. I'm going to nominate the IKEA escapees of Shanghai, because China's still pursuing this ludicrous zero COVID policy, and so local is the enforcement of it. There is an IKEA in Shanghai where there was a COVID close contact, not a positive case, a close contact. And so the store was advised to shut the doors, and everyone inside was going to be forced into 2 days government detention for round-the-clock testing. People got wise to what was going on inside and bust out the doors. And you had your IKEA, assembly assistants and whatnot that usually hand out pencils and they've got the yellow tops, suddenly cast in the role of security guard trying to lock these people in. They ended up breaking through the cordon and managing to get out. It is an insight into this entirely ludicrous situation that's playing out in China at the moment, where they have what they call closed loop management. 2 days of quarantine, 5 days of health surveillance if you happen to turn up at a place where there's been a close contact.
I'm not familiar with 2 days being a sort of period for beating the virus.
Well, because you haven't been exposed to it. You've been exposed to someone who might have been exposed to it.
Yeah.
Like this is extraordinary, the lengths to which they're still going to in China to lock this thing out.
I think for the first time, I'm nominating an animal. I'm going to nominate Ravi the red panda for giving us all a bit of mirth to start the week, but also for reminding us that animals are indeed animals, and that they, we sort of tend to humanise them a bit. And I think it was good to see an animal just doing what it does and going, stuff this for a joke. I'm not staying here. I'll be off then.
Did more for PandaCon than Wong Wong and Fooney could do in 5 lifetimes. Sam, good morning.
Morning, guys. Second week in a row. I'm going to go age is but a number. Italian actor Gina... No, I'm going to stuff this up.
Lola Brigida. Oh,
there we go. You've heard this story?
No, I've heard about Gina Lollobrigida, as well a lot of our older listeners.
Yep. So she's 95, and she's put her hand up to run for the Senate in Italy.
Oh, really?
She's running for election to become the senator with the Sovereign and Popular Italy Party. Right? So she was inspired by Mahatma Gandhi for his way of doing things, of non-violence. And she, a golden age of Hollywood, known for her films of The Hunchback of Notre Dame and Solemn and Sheba.
Yep.
But yeah, she attempted to enter politics in 1999, couldn't get it done. So she's having another crack at it at aged 95.
Good on her. 95. And we tried to run John Howard out of Parliament when he was 64.
Yeah.
95.
Why not?
Good news for Joe Biden this morning.
I was about to say, she looks like she's got more
Thank
life
you,
than
Sam.
Joe Biden.
Matt in Kersbrook's called
She
in.
speaks better English.
Morning, Matt.
G'day, how you doing, mate?
Good mate.
Yeah, I was just listening to your story on the chest diving. My 9-year-old son and I like going through KO and finding all the weird sports that are on there. And there's actually a game of chest boxing.
Seriously? How does that work?
They have a 3-minute boxing round, and then they have a 15-minute chess session. Then they go back to a 3-minute boxing round, and the winner's declared if there's a knockout in the boxing round, or there's a checkmate in the chess round.
Okay, so I'm just trying to think about this in history. That would mean, for my money at very least, Matt, Mike Tyson would be heavily favoured over Gary Kasparov.
I believe the chess section goes first, so unless he can knock you checkmate in 15 minutes, I think
Well,
Mike
maybe.
should have it.
Maybe, but I'll tell you what, the pressure would be on to get to get the win. That's great, Matt. I'll tell you what, we've got a $100 Rugs to You voucher. Come up with a new sport based on chest diving, a physical element and an academic element. So it's, 100-metre sprint combined with Monopoly or whatever. What's a sport that could work? If chest diving can work, an academic element and a physical element. Something for everyone to compete with.
Who was the guy the famous chess player who competed against the IBM computer? I think the computer was called Deep Blue.
Deep Blue, yeah.
Yeah, was it Bobby Fischer?
Bobby Fischer was the British champion. It was Kasparov, wasn't it?
That's right.
It was Kasparov.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's a really, really, really good writer.
Yes. He often writes about politics.
He wrote some superb articles about Putin last year when the Ukraine...
Computers are all too good now. That was actually a nicer era when we might beat the computer occasionally. Yeah. Now there's a computer league that they used to test the quality of artificial intelligence where they're all playing against each other. And it's like a sporting league, but computer scientists use it to say, well, who's got the better AI and whatnot.
Yeah, right.
They've basically mapped out everything that can ever happen in chess. It's quite extraordinary. Physical plus academic. What can you combine to create a new sport like chess diving? $100 Rugs to You voucher. Get your calls coming in on 8223 0000. We'll get to some of those entries next.
Hey, it's Callum here. Looking for something small, medium or large? Edwardstown Mazda have most models in stock, ready to drive away. You can feel confident in the team at Edwardstown Mazda.
It's gotta be
edwardstownmazda.com.au, LNVD 207428.
time for new tyres? At Bridgestone Select, you'll get more with 4. Buy 3 selected Bridgestone tyres and get the 4th free. Limited time only, conditions apply. For tyres and auto service you can count on, head for Bridgestone Select.
5AA's Business Lounge with Leith Forrest.
Andrew Sullivan, Managing Director of Sullivan Consulting, is here. Welcome back, Andrew.
G'day, Leith.
When people are looking to take the next step in their career, what should they be doing?
Definitely making the most of LinkedIn and in-person networks. Consider having your resume updated for when that dream job does come up. Also consider your transferable skills and how they could apply to a new opportunity.
So first step is landing the interview. What advice would you give candidates to set themselves up for success in their next interview?
Make sure you research the job description and the company. Prepare your own questions to ask the interviewer. First impressions definitely matter, so dress for the occasion. Share examples and stories that highlight your skills.
Thanks for your time, Andrew. If you're thinking about taking the next step in your career, connect with Sullivan Consulting on LinkedIn, or you can visit sullivanconsulting.com.au. Or tune into 5AA Afternoons every Monday for the local job market updates with Andrew.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 16 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra Marion have a hydrotherapy pool now on site. Contact Physio Extra Marion or head to physioextra.com.
A 63-year-old Walkerville man is in a critical condition after being hit by a car at Hackham West last night. Senior Constable Matt Brown says he was struck on Honeypot Road.
The driver of the sedan, a 34-year-old Morford Vale man, wasn't injured and is assisting police with their inquiry. So we're still appealing for witnesses to come forward, or anyone who may have been travelling in the area around 7 p.m. last night. Please call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Federal Cabinet is meeting today to discuss secret ministerial powers appointed to the former Prime Minister. It's been revealed Scott Morrison allocated himself the health, finance and resources portfolios while in office without informing his colleagues. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is investigating the legality of the move. Nationals leader David Littleproud has told Today it's not on.
Our government and the executive arm of it reflects around the Cabinet and the collective wisdom of that Cabinet in drawing on it in making decisions rather than unilateral decisions. So it's important out of respect to that institution that the former Prime Minister gives an explanation.
Aged care workers are sceptical the federal government's planned reforms to the sector can be achieved. In a new survey, 57% believe the targets will be impossible to reach, while up to 23% of staff are planning to leave the sector over the next 3 years. CEO of CompliSpace, David Griffiths, says it's due to low pay and being overworked.
To even start to retain current workers in aged care, they need to be paid properly, and that means a pay increase. To address understaffing, we need to bring more workers into the sector, and that needs funding. We need to find funding for 55,000 additional workers in order to provide an adequate level of service to the sector.
A new national safety campaign is being launched to help pilots stay safe. The Your Safety is in Your Hands campaign encourages pilots to keep up to date with aviation safety developments and refresh their knowledge. It will be delivered through a series of webinars, podcasts and videos. Governments are being urged to do more to address obesity as the health issue puts people at higher risk of severe COVID. Katie Fuller explains.
Globally, obesity rates have spiked since 2020 and research has found overweight adults and children are more likely to be hospitalised or require intensive care treatment if they catch the virus. It's believed cost of living pressures are associated with an increase in obesity rates. The World Obesity Federation is calling for healthy food choices to be subsidised for people in rural areas and for more regulation on junk food advertising to help solve both issues.
Johnny Depp is going back to filmmaking after his high-profile defamation trial. He'll direct a movie about the Italian artist Modigliani. Cameras are set to roll next year. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Order a Gliderol roller door and operator by September 30 for some free upgrades. Search Gliderol for details.
There's a big game coming up this weekend in the footy world, Tom Wren.
No doubt about it, Mel. It's all about Showdown 52 this weekend for the Crows and Port Adelaide. They go head-to-head on Saturday night at Adelaide Oval. There is speculation Robbie Gray will announce his retirement. Power assistant coach Chad Corn says the club is leaving the decision in the veterans' hands.
Whatever he does, this week will be great for him. We know his record in showdowns, but probably my favourite ever Port player to play with and to watch. So whatever Rob does going forward, obviously his decision, but we love him, whatever his decision is.
Now, there's growing uncertainty over Ben Rutten's future as Essendon coach after a change in the Bombers' presidency. David Barham has ordered an external review of the club after taking the reins from Paul Brasher yesterday. It comes after the Bombers went down to the Power by 84 points, the biggest loss of Rutten's coaching career. Essendon great Matthew Lloyd describing the loss as lifeless and that of a performance of a coach about to go.
My opinion is that on what I saw and what I've seen across this year that I wouldn't go with Ben Rutten next year.
Liverpool has been left frustrated again, still seeking its first win of the new English Premier League season. That's after being held to a 1-1 draw at home by Crystal Palace. The Reds' troubles compounded by a red card to star striker Darwin Núñez. Australian golfer Cameron Smith has withdrawn from the upcoming PGA event in Delaware with hip troubles. Adam Scott's fifth-place finish at the St Jude Championships has propelled him into the top 50 of the FedEx Cup standings. That means he's secured a place at this week's tournament. And Wallaby staff have made changes to training loads for players in response to the injury crisis plaguing the squad. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Few best waterways to look out from the driving today. One at McGill, Penfold Road near McGill Road, and a lot at Highgate, Fullerton Road just before Crossroad. Standard 40 k's both directions. At Wingfield, the railway tourist crossing is closed for works. Detours in place there at the moment, and we're starting to get busy South Road at Miley. Cameras, Maxwell Terrace, Glenelg East, and Penfield Road at Penfield Gardens. Why pay dealership prices? Get an ultra-tuned manufacturer's logbook service and get 12 months roadside assistance. Australia's best rated car service brand. Search ultra-tune for more. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast, partly cloudy, 16 today, late showers tomorrow 19, Thursday back to 16 and rain. Right now it's 10 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Thanks to the Credit Union SA Term Deposit Account with great interest per annum. T's and C's apply.
7 after 7, $100 Rugs to You voucher giving away very, very shortly. Got some great calls coming in on new amalgam sports that combine physical rigour and academic rigour. Given chest diving, we've just learned about this morning, is something we hadn't come across previously. There's an opportunity that a lot of our listeners will have done recreationally. They're going to be able to do in a more organised format next year in the 2023 Santos Tour Down Under. The Challenge Tour will travel between Nord and Campbelltown on Friday the 20th of January. It'll happen before the professional riders go through and complete that leg of the tour as well, allowing average Joes to go and have a crack and get to do it whilst the road's closed. Be a really quite an extraordinary experience for people that love riding and want to test themselves in some of these stages. There's a 123.5k stage, an 83k option as well. Stuart O'Grady's pretty familiar with this terrain and joins us now on 5AA Breakfast, the race director of the Santos Tour Down Under. Morning to you, Stuart.
Good morning. How are you?
We're good, Stuart. I know that there's been a long and very entertaining history in SA of people sort of tagging along after the races, but this sounds like it's something that's quite different and a lot more organised.
Yeah, we thought we'd spice it up a little bit for this upcoming challenge tour. We've had a couple of years, obviously, through the pandemic where, all the cycling fans around the world have been, a lot of them were stuck indoors on home trainers and so on. So this is a good opportunity for them to get out and really set yourself a good goal. Everyone wanted a good challenge. A lot of the feedback was they wanted a little bit of a tougher challenge than in the past. So this is a really exciting stage for the professional riders, and it's like, well, let's give the punters a crack at tackling one of the proper World Tour stages, which the professionals will do on the same day, just a few hours later. So we've incorporated a few of the climbs and hoping everyone will get out there and dust off their bikes, get a few friends together and really test themselves.
There's a model for this with the European tours, isn't there, Stuart?
Yeah, that's right. So every Tour de France and every Tour of Italy and major one-day race in Europe, it can be called a Grand Fondo or basically a mass participation ride where individuals or groups can go out and just test themselves and experience exactly what the professionals are up for on that day. And I guess for the normal riders, it's a good opportunity and it is a real challenge. And for the a little bit more amateur or serious bike riders, it's a great opportunity to compare their times up some of the climbs and just get out there and have a crack.
So, Stuart, what are the three routes? Because they're all hills, aren't they?
Well, it's the actual stage. So it'll start in Nord. You take off in the morning, head up Norton Summit Road, which is the first kind of challenge, the first test. So it's going to take in 3 major climbs, iconic Tour Down Under climbs. And on beautiful roads and closed roads. And I think that's the major point of difference. For the first time, we'll have the police escort, so we'll be able to use the whole road like what the professionals do.
What's what's your advice, Stuart, to riders who previously might not have wanted to tackle these climbs because they've had to negotiate cars? What's the trickiest bit?
Oh, look, it just opens it up. It's a lot safer for the riders. Knowing that they can use a bit more of the road.
Sure.
So
more so, which climb would you say to people, brace yourself because this one there's a bit of burn?
Well, it depends how every climb hurts. It depends how fast you go up. So I've learned that pretty well in my career.
Good point.
If you're happy just to ride up and look, enjoy the scenic views of Adelaide and the Adelaide Hills and so on. But if you want to really, grit your teeth and go hard, then every single climb in the world hurts. Doesn't matter. But so these guys will head up Norton Summit. Then they'll head around. Then there's Checker Hill, which is a really short, steep climb, and then finishing up the Corkscrew, which is obviously one of the most iconic climbs in the Tour Down Under. So there's the opportunity for the long route, which is 123 kilometres, but there's also an option for a shorter route if you just want to get out there and have a crack and you go, you know what, my legs are burning too much today, or I've had too much pizza last night. You can turn left at Birdwood and head towards the home and watch the pros do it.
And just finally, Stuart, is it all just for a bit of fun, or is there going to be like a yellow jacket or something for whoever comes first?
Oh, look! I think the main goal here is just to give everyone the opportunity to experience exactly what the professionals do. So, if you want to get out there and just take your time and enjoy the ride and set yourself a real personal goal of achieving something pretty special, then so be it. But if you want to get out there and race and have a bit of fun, then it's also a great opportunity. And then you can get home and compare your times against the best in the world.
That's awesome.
It's a great concept. Congratulations to you, Stuart. And if anyone wants to get involved, head to tourdownunder.com.au. Stuart O'Grady, race director for the Santos Tour Down Under. Appreciate your time this morning.
Checker Hill, its steepest section is a 28% gradient. 28%.
For how long?
Well, it's only 1.1 kilometres long, but it's got an average gradient of 9.4.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun to me.
Is 28%. That sounds pretty intense.
I marvel at those people that do those hills climbs just regularly as recreation.
Yeah.
On some of those tight roads that cars are driving around too. Just.
Oh, what about you see people every time you go
it.
up to your Adler?
Yes.
Up Green Hill Road. I don't know. You wouldn't catch me riding a bike there.
Margaret in Parafield's called in. Morning, Margaret.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
These rides are actually quite a lot of fun. I used to do them when they were called the FIVEAA ride, where you would do a ride with like thousands of people just before the professionals did. Of course, this stopped when COVID hit. And you were talking about what you used to do when you were young, and you could probably do a bit better now. Well, I was hopeless on a bike when I was young. I would cycle for 5 minutes and then be puffed out. And then sort of in my 50s, I started doing these FIVEAA rides. I started off with like the 35K one year, then the 63. And the final one I got to was the 105, which I did fine. I never quite got to the professional one, which was always about 125, 130. But it was really, really enjoyable with a whole lot of people. The roads closed off initially, and then you do have to navigate a bit by yourself. But it was so much fun, and I really missed it when, these events were cancelled. So it's so great that this is back on again. And I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to do this.
Yeah, I think you're right, Margaret.
Great call, Margaret.
Appreciate your call. Thank you. 8223 000. I'll get to some more calls in just a moment. Bit of news from the world of sport this morning. End of an era for cricket commentary in this country. Ian Chappell has decided to retire the microphone. He's no longer going to be, I think, one of the most insightful members of the various commentary teams he's been a part of over the years. 78-year-old, former Australian captain, has said that it's something that he's been thinking about. He mentions he had a minor stroke a few years ago. He says he got off lucky, but it's just made everything harder, and he's thought about the travel. He's thought about things like walking upstairs and just those elements to it that make it a little bit more difficult. And he quotes in everything he's had to say about it Rabs Warren, who said, when he was talking about retirement, he said, "You're always one sentence closer to making a mistake." And Ian Chappell didn't want to get there. And I reckon this is...
Well, that's a scary quote for people in our line of work, Will.
Yeah, I think some of us have already been there. So I think this is... I really enjoyed Ian Chappell's commentary. No holds barred, genuine insight. Never left in any doubt what he was thinking, and he had some intellect to it. And I actually think that holds true for a significantly greater proportion of ex-cricketers who become commentators than ex-footballers. There's something about cricketers providing tactical and strategic insight into the sport that they can do, the best can do, really well. And I reckon Ian Chappell was absolutely in that category.
In another sport, probably the best recent example of that was Ian Thorpe's commentary on the swimming,
Absolutely.
where you just get like genuine insight. And this is one of the many reasons why Warney will be missed, because I thought listening to Warren's commentary was terrific for the same reason. But I liked Ian Chappell had a sort of pleasantly sort of, not grumpiness, but a sort of, he's not like some of these football commentators you hear. A side can be 8 goals down, no chance of getting back into a game, and they're still almost contractually obliged to say that there's a bit of a contest underway. Chappell just calls things as they are. Interesting bloke with his private views as well. He's actually a very progressive guy. He's a huge campaigner on behalf of asylum seekers. He's, with cricket, you don't normally associate cricket with, small little liberal progressive thought, but Chappell, he's an old softy, so I hope he enjoys his retirement.
Absolutely. Now, we've got some breaking news that's just coming through. 9 News Adelaide are reporting this morning 2 children have been rushed to hospital after a woman allegedly stabbed them both in Wingfield.
You are kidding.
This just news to hand as we're speaking. Kids are in a stable condition in hospital at the moment. The woman has been taken into custody.
My God. That is
we have no further detail
horrible.
beyond that at this point in time. But
no ages on the kids?
No, we'll be making some inquiries.
Wingfield. Extraordinary. We'll talk to Sapol about that over the next hour.
All right, let's check traffic. When we come back, we're going to give away a $100 Uggs to You voucher because our listeners have been very creative in coming up with new sports, inspired as we have been this morning by the Underwater Chess Championships. So that's next.
Thanks, Will. A few best watermains to look out for today. One at Highgate, Fullerton Road, just before Crossroad. It's down to 40 k's, gets pretty slow throughout the morning. Another one at McGill, Penfold Road near McGill Road. At Findon, you find bitumen work slowing things up, Crittenden Road near Broadford Courts. And in the Parklands, power line works are continuing on to Kettle Terrace near Kappa Streets. Busy right now, South Road at Mile End with a camera, East Terrace at Henley Beach. At TPG Telecom, your business journey is theirs too. For reliable, secure, fast and affordable telecom solutions, visit tpgtelecom.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Tomorrow on 5AA, Leon Biner speaks exclusively with the 25th Prime Minister of Australia, John Howard.
It has been an incredible privilege to be the Prime Minister of the greatest country in the world.
Hear what Mr. Howard has to say about his time in the top job, the current state of politics, and his views on national security. The Honourable John Howard, live and exclusive, tomorrow morning from 11:30 with Leon Biner on 1395, Adelaide's 5AA.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, the team at Lynn Andrews Real Estate have made it easy to manage residential and commercial property. Whether you own a single residential home or multiple commercial properties, our passion for property investment means we have a great deal of knowledge to share. How to invest safely and properly. Matching the right tenant with the right property every time. We're here to help. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
The Isuzu D-Max and MUX are born to tow. You can go your own way. Go your own way. With 3.5-ton towing capacity, trailer sway control and a reversing camera as standard across the range. Hook up the boat, caravan or trailer and let the adventures begin in the Isuzu D-Max and 7-seat MUX. Hurry to your local Isuzu U dealer today.
Saving for one of these? Maybe this? Then you're going to need one of these. Sorry, we didn't have a sound effect for a Credit Union SA 12-month term deposit account. But invest as little as $5,000 and we can give you 3% interest per annum. Save your way with a Credit Union SA 12-month term deposit account. Minimum $5,000 investment, T's and C's apply.
What's on your bucket list? Writing a best-selling novel? Sailing around the Bahamas? Flying over the Antarctic? Before you plan a bucket list, plan your will with Donlan Lawyers. A will, power of attorney and advanced care directive speak for you when you can't, ensuring you and your loved ones are taken care of. For wills and estate planning, contact Donlan Lawyers. Visit donlanlawyers.com. Put it on your bucket list.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. Ditch winter and get summer ready now with Beaumont Tiles Outdoors. Tiles and pavers for pools, alfrescos and outdoor areas in stock now at Beaumont's. Visit a showroom for inspiration.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
For an interest rate that really pays, consider a Credit Union SA term deposit account. T's and C's apply.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
21 minutes after 7. You can add to the growing suite of Polish sporting excellence a world chess diving champion.
This could all go well for the World Cup, Will.
I think
Seriously,
so.
This could be the curtain raiser to Qatar in December.
Well, I think that's right. Now, Robert Lewandowski's got a tough act to follow.
Poland played Mexico one morning when you and I are on the air.
Could be ugly in here.
This could be worse than the
Could be
conversation
ugly.
about Scott Morrison.
Lucky they're not competing at underwater chess. We're talking this morning about weird sports amalgams. So when a physical sport otherwise gets an academic element. We had a great call before the break, someone talking about chess boxing, which I think sounds just excellent. 15 minutes worth of chess, a round of boxing, another 15 minutes worth of chess, round of boxing until someone either gets checkmated or knocked out. Brilliant. We need more ideas like that, and you can win yourself a $100 Uggs to You voucher. Sam in Theberton, good morning.
Morning. I reckon we can try this Saturday night. AFL football and tiddlywinks. So as soon as you kick a goal, back in the centre of the ground, play tiddlywinks. You get it in the cup, get another goal. Easy way to pick up a goal. If they would have introduced this earlier, maybe the Crows or the Power could have been in the finals.
I think you're right, and I think you'd argue both sides at various times have seen their midfield play tiddlywinks this year. Andrew and Craigmore, good morning.
G'day, guys. Here's one for you. I reckon Dave might be good at this one. I don't know about the running, but he could do the 110-metre hurdles, spelling bee. Each word has to be over 12 letters, though. There you go.
Thank you,
good.
Andrew.
That's
that one's in the mix too. Let's go to Hannah. Good morning to you, Hannah.
Good morning. How's it going?
Good, thanks, Hannah.
Awesome. Well, I was thinking on the same one as spelling bee, but with weightlifting. So you have to lift the weight above your head and then spell out the word while you've got the weight above your head.
That actually sounds close to something that might happen.
And the word is hors d'oeuvres.
HORSD''OE. Yeah. What do you mean you got cat?
Yeah. Steward's inquiry.
Yeah. Dodgy stuff going on.
That's a good one.
Weightlifting wouldn't be for the first time. Joe in Modbury North, good morning.
How you going, guys?
Good,
I've
thanks,
got a similar one, similar to the one with the chess and boxing. What about Uno? So every time you get a draw 2, you've got to have gloves on, you've got to smack someone 2 times, but if everyone adds on, the last person might get smacked 10 times.
Play your wild pick up four dead arms in a row.
I think we've got one more. Graham in Tennyson's just called in. Graham, good morning to you.
Hey boys, well they're a weird mob in old Yankee land. I don't know whether you guys got Fox, but every now and then there's this sport called cornhole comes on.
Yes, I've seen
They
cornhole.
throw a bag of beans into a hole.
Yeah.
And it's called it's a national sport.
Is this some sort of hillbilly Olympics type thing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like when they go tickling for catfish. Have you ever seen that?
So you're not combining it. You're not combining cornhole with anything, Graham. You're just pointing out that cornhole's weird.
Yeah, it's a weird sport. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Graham. Appreciate that. Who do we like for the $100 Uggs to You voucher?
Look, I think Hannah. I thought the idea of the weightlifting combined with the spelling bee is a good one. There was one, I don't know who sent it in. They didn't leave their name on the old Automasters text line. Someone suggested a sport combo of 100 metres hurdle combined with solving Wordle, which could be called the Hurdle Wordle. That's pretty good.
You might be in for a show in that.
Yeah. I don't know. I've dropped the ball a bit with Wordle lately.
You've got a hurdler's stride. Speaking of actual real sports,
only when there's a meeting on.
Book your service online at North Point Toyota to win the cost back. It is the North Point Way. Rowie and Timmy G last night talking about the very dynamic situation involving still Essendon coach Ben Rutten and the Essendon Football Club.
The thing that bothers me, Rowan, I want to say this to you, Paul Brasher was the club president. He stepped down Monday after the dismal performance. Now, you've got a president that goes, you got a new one that was appointed pretty quickly. They sit in and have another meeting.
2 board meetings in 2 days.
And I've got to say, I understand because I called the game for 5AA, and I'm watching an Essendon side just be uncompetitive. They're going into another review.
Yeah, they're third.
They're third in 3 years.
This one will be external.
What's going on that you can't at least have a different impact on that? Because that's the way they've been playing for 3 years.
Yeah, they're not moving on Bent Rutten unless they've got someone else. They've been told Alistair Clarkson's going to go to North, so he's not there. I got a Cafe de Villiers text straight off the bat. James Hurd for Bombers, watch this space. It's from Bomber Jimmy. They wouldn't, would they?
That would be controversial at the very minimum.
We will speak to Sheeds tomorrow. He's the footy director. He's on the board. He's a wily old fox.
Oh,
Sheeds,
yeah.
so he'll let us know what's going on. But if Ben is safe, Ben's not safe.
I'd love to be part of the board meeting where someone suggested we need to take some heat out of this situation and get in a nice soft pair of hands to ease us through this difficult period. James Hurd.
Hurd, though, he's one of the greatest players of all time. Is he persona non grata? Is he just banned, black banned because of the drug stuff?
I think so.
Seriously?
Yeah.
You don't think there's any way he could ever recover from that?
I think
he actually...
As far as scandals go,
he wasn't the manipulator. I think he was more than manipulated in that.
Yeah, he was the head of the... I mean, the buck stops with the head coach, doesn't it?
Well... It was a pretty bad scandal.
It was horrific. That's tonight's interview. Timmy G, Rowie, and Kevin Sheedy, who is on the board, is going to be must listen to radio. And don't go anywhere.
There's a bit of Schadenfreude about all this for Crows and Port fans, isn't it? Because there's always somebody worse off than yourself.
Isn't there a basket case? The other thing that's going to be great tonight is Matthew Nix is going to be on the show. So if you care about the biggest stories in football, you're going to be listening to the Sports Show tonight with Timmy G and Rowie. Book your service online. North Point Toyota to win the cost back. It is the North Point way. 5AA News coming up. Phil Curry next.
Gliderol has manufactured and installed garage doors in SA since 1974, and their commitment to quality is as strong as ever. So if it's time for a new look for your house or time to upgrade, why not now? Order a new roller door, sectional door or customer designer door with operator by December 30th and you'll receive a free premium operator upgrade and 2 bonus handsets. For a free measure and quote and helpful advice, search Gliderol today. Retail customers only, T's and C's apply.
City Discount Tires. Get saving this month at City Discount Tires. When you buy 3 Wild Peak AT3W all-terrain tires, you'll get the 4th tire free. The perfect tire for your next adventure. City Discount Tires are a proud multi-tire and wheel brand retailer offering great service at great prices. Visit citydiscounttires.com.au to find your nearest store. City Discount Tires. We're driven by value. City Discount Tires.
Have you got your ticket in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery? It could be your ticket to live mortgage-free by the beach in the $3 million grand prize at Somerton Park. The fully furnished and professionally styled Scott Salisbury home is what dreams are made of, and it could all be yours. Plus, it comes with $250,000 cash. Support South Australia's healthcare heroes and get your tickets today. homelottery.com.au. Licence M14227.
G'day, it's Eddie May from NRG Solar. Don't you hate it when things are out of your control, like electricity prices? Well, they're skyrocketing. Wait until your winter power bill comes in and you'll see exactly what I mean. With NRG Solar on your roof, combined with battery storage, you could zero out those power bills altogether. Visit nrgsolar.com.au today and take control of your power bills for good. That's nrgsolar.com.au or visit our interactive showroom at 406 South Road at Richmond.
G'day, it's Jared for Southern Mitsubishi. Thinking Mitsubishi or servicing your existing car? Southern Mitsubishi is your absolute go-to. Their state-of-the-art servicing technology and world-class quality control systems will ensure your vehicle gives you many years of hassle-free motoring pleasure. The same goes for buying a new Mitsubishi. They stock the full range, all designed to thrill. So get in touch with the amazing team at Southern Mitsubishi, 147 Main South Road, Morfett Vale, driven by Australian Motors, LVD 80.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 16 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Looking for the perfect winter exercise? Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates at 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
2 children are in a stable condition in hospital with stab wounds. Late last night, a woman who allegedly stabbed the pair was pulled over by police on the north-south motorway bridge overpass at Wingfield and taken into custody. Police are expected to release more details shortly. Police are investigating a serious crash at Hackham West last night. Just after 7, they were called to Honeypot Road after a pedestrian was hit by a Toyota sedan. A 63-year-old man from Walkerville was taken to hospital in a critical condition. The 34-year-old driver of the car wasn't hurt. Police would like to hear from anyone who saw the accident or might have any information that would help in the investigation. And police are on the hunt for a man after a 15-year-old girl was indecently assaulted at Aberfoyle Park on Sunday afternoon. The man called out to the girl as she was walking on a trail near the Happy Valley Sports Club Oval, then followed her into Brook Drive Reserve, where he attacked her before she managed to fight him off. Senior Constable Matt Brown has described the wanted man.
Caucasian appearance, about 20 years old, slim build, about 180 centimetres tall, with short light brown hair and blue eyes, and was wearing a dark jacket and pants and black shoes. So anyone who may have seen a man matching this description in the area is asked to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Anthony Albanese is awaiting a second briefing on the secret ministerial powers assumed by his predecessor. It's been revealed former Prime Minister Scott Morrison allocated himself the health, finance and resources portfolios without informing his colleagues. The move gave him the power to overrule decisions made by the 3 appointed ministers. Mr Albanese has told the ABC other portfolios may have been affected.
There may well be more, but I'll have more to say about that when I'm properly briefed. Australians are entitled to a government that is mature in the way that it deals with issues, and that is the sort of government that I want to lead.
More pain for the household budget, with the cost of petrol surging across Adelaide again. Some outlets have increased the price of unleaded to $1.95 per litre, while others are still selling it for as little as $1.45. The RAA's Mark Borlase says there's now a 50-cent difference in the market.
It is about some of them trying to chase profit again in their fuel, where others are using the cheaper fuel to attract people to their sites to buy other things.
The UK has become the first country to approve a dual vaccine, which tackles both the original COVID virus and the Omicron variant. The Moderna vaccine will be used as a booster dose for those aged 18 or older. The company has also completed regulatory submissions for the vaccine in Australia, Canada and the EU. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Order a Glider Roll roller door by September 30 and you could get free upgrades. Search Glider Roll for details.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide defender Patrick Parnell says he's loving his time in the senior side. The 20-year-old made his debut against West Coast in round 12 and has played every game since, and is now preparing to play in his first ever showdown.
To play, I think it's 10 in a row now. It's been exciting. I think we've got a good young core group there, and we're starting to string some games together. So, it's been good.
Still on football, Tom McDonald is nearing a return to full training after recovering from a long-term foot injury. Melbourne's performance manager Selwyn Griffin says McDonald hopes to be fit for the finals.
Tom progressed into training last week with the group, completed some kicking-based drills and some aerial contest work. He'll continue to build that exposure this week with the group. He'll come to Brisbane with the team and train there, get a really good exposure, and then we'll look to have him into full training next week, and then we'll assess his readiness to play.
Meantime, Geelong's leading goal kicker has suffered a hamstring injury ahead of the club's last game of the regular season. Jeremy Cameron will miss this weekend's clash with West Coast due to a low-grade hamstring injury. That injury, though, is not expected to keep him sidelined for the first week of the finals. To tennis, and two-time Grand Slam contenders have committed to playing at the Kooyong Classic in Melbourne in the lead-up to next year's Australian Open. Australia's top-ranked male Alex de Minaur and world number 4 Carlos Alcaraz will both take part in the exhibition event. One game in the English Premier League this morning, with Liverpool held to a 1-1 draw at Anfield by Crystal Palace, and the Tahiti Surf Pro has been placed on hold for another 2 hours as organisers wait for swell to build at Chaupo. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
FIVEAA's Watermains keep your eye out for today. One at McGill, Penfold Road near McGill Road. Another one at Highgate, that's Fullerton Road just before Crossroad. It's down to 40 k's, does get pretty slow throughout the morning there. At Wingfield, you'll find the Railway Terrace crossing closed for works. Detours are in place. And we're busy right now, South Road at Mile End. Cameras, East Terrace, Henley Beach and Pierce Street at Glenelg. Wide pay dealership prices. Get an ultra-tuned manufacturer's logbook service and get 12 months roadside assistance. Australia's best-rated car service brand. Search UltraTune for more. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA weather, partly cloudy, 16 today, late showers tomorrow and 19, then back to 16 with rain on Thursday. Right now it's 10 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
For an interest rate that really pays, consider a Credit Union SA term deposit account. T's and C's apply.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
24 minutes to 8. Some traffic information coming through. Wayne's called in. Traffic building up on the north-south motorway near Torrens Road. All three lanes backed up, heading south, around 10 to 15 minutes worth of delays thus far. Adelaide Metro too have just advised due to an SA water incident. Penfold Road, McGill is closed between the Parade and McGill Road. So Penfold Road, McGill, between the Parade and McGill Road's closed. A detour is in place for the H20 bus services that head to Paradise. Stops 15 to 18 on the Parade and stops 19A to 19C on Penfold Road are being missed as a result. So factor that into your movements this morning. So you had some murmurs of maybe a press conference at Port Adelaide a little bit later this morning that's just been called. Potentially Robbie Gray news, some of the speculation, but as yet don't know the substance of that. It feels like everything's pointing in that direction.
It certainly does.
Journos have just been alerted to a press conference.
And I'll tell you what, given Robbie Gray's form in so many showdowns, how many showdown medals has he won?
5. I think.
5. Yeah, well,
So
I think
that's a reasonable
Robbie
record.
Going out with a bang at a Port home game augurs poorly for the Crows' end of the season because he's an absolute legend of the game. He's been an ornament to the Port Adelaide Football Club, and yeah, our mail is that it will be. The announcement will be that Robbie Gray is going to play his last game. 5AA Facebook and YouTube live streams. You can watch along thanks to our great friends at Credit Union SA. Let's head to Canberra. Phil Curry from the Australian Financial Review on what's been the biggest talking point of the morning. Here is Anthony Albanese on Scott Morrison's plethora of ministerial responsibilities.
This is a sort of tin pot activity that we would ridicule if it was in a non-democratic country. It is unbecoming. It was cynical, and it was just weird.
Get the feeling he's having some fun with this. Phil, good morning to you.
Good morning, fellas. How are you?
We're good, thanks, Phil. Although we need a bit of relationship counselling because Will and I started the show having a bit of a friendly argument about this. He thinks it's a bit of a beat up. I think it's really quite serious. What's your take on it?
I think it's both.
That's why you're the best, Phil. you keep the family together.
A nuanced take.
Look, it's interesting. It's really, really interesting on a number of fronts, and it's completely unprecedented in political history what happened, and I think there's a serious element to it. If you sort of divide it into what we know, so we know, right at the start of the pandemic when everything was going mad, that Morrison secretly had himself appointed both finance and health minister as sort of as a backup, if you like, to Matthias Cormann and Greg Hunt, And if you think about it, at the time, the whole world was collapsing, everything was nuts, and it made it sort of made perfect sense because they were planning for what Peter Dutton said was Armageddon scenarios, and that included one or both of those ministers, being incapacitated by COVID or even dying of it. We didn't know them, we didn't have vaccines, it was all mad, and they were both the sort of frontline portfolios. Cormann, the finance minister, was shelling out billions and billions of dollars. He had the discretion to do that by himself. Greg Hunt had enormous powers under the Biosecurity Act. He could actually declare martial law around the country if he wanted to, and no parliament could stop him. So it was sort of, Morrison sort of said, well, I'm across both of these portfolios, and I'll point myself the backup in case one of them gets knocked out. So it sort of made sense, but what made no sense whatsoever is he kept it secret, and he didn't even tell Cormann. Well, Hunt knew, but Cormann never knew. So it was this sort of weird thing he had for secrecy. It wasn't unconstitutional, it wasn't illegal, but it was certainly unprecedented. And
but didn't it change the system of government in a way? Because we sort of overnight went from the sort of Westminster model where cabinet is a bit of a check and balance on the power of the elected leader to more of a presidential system where...
Well, potentially, yeah, Dave. That was the potential for it. But and then, I think the really serious bit of it is what came next with Keith Pitt. So this had nothing to do with COVID. So Pitt was a national. He was the Minister for Resources. There was a mob trying to develop gas off the 50 k's off the New South Wales coast, just off Sydney's northern beaches. And this was becoming a red-hot political issue in those Teal seats, those safe Liberal seats that the Teals were targeting. And Pitt, as the minister, had the autonomy and he had the sole authority to approve this exploration, which he wanted to do. And Morrison didn't want him to do it because they was trying to save these seats, and they had this blazing row. And in the end, Morrison used the same mechanism he used during COVID to make himself resources minister, and overruled Pitt and stopped it. And that I think is the serious element of this in terms of blurring the lines of cabinet accountability on these sorts of things. And again, it was all kept secret. We've only just found out about it. And Albanese was just on radio just about 10 minutes ago, and he's going to do a press conference later today, and he's left open the fact there may have been more portfolios. So they're just sort of getting to the bottom of it. Maybe Scott Morrison made himself a minister for a few other things as well. So, yeah, it does. Look, it is unprecedented. It is past history, but at the same time, there may be sort of things that need to be looked at here so it doesn't happen again. Or if it does happen again, we all know about it and it's done transparently. And I think that's the sort of the serious side to it.
The other thing too, and on this, Will and I totally agreed, was his comment by text yesterday to Sky News where he said, since leaving the job, I haven't engaged in any day-to-day politics. I mean, doesn't that invite the obvious rejoinder? Well, mate, if you're not really interested in the politics anymore, why are the taxpayers paying you $200,000 a year to do nothing?
Well, I think we all know he's out. He's headed out. He'll leave as soon as it's sort of an opportune time to do so. I mean, to be honest, I think he actually wanted to go pretty soon after the election, but they urged him to stay on just to. Otherwise, his seat might have gone in a by-election. But yeah, no one expects Mr. Morrison to hang around for the whole term. But I think it is incumbent. I can understand he doesn't want to get involved in the day-to-day stuff that doesn't concern him. He's had his date, and there's nothing more painful for a leader to have an ex-prime minister on the backbench weighing into events of the day. But in this case, I think it's incumbent on him to explain, just to go on the record and say why he did what he did, because others are trying to do it for him, and most people don't have no idea that this happened until now. Even Peter Dutton was sort of looking a bit shell-shocked yesterday, and he was like right up there in the decision-making process all through this. I think it's incumbent on Scott Morrison just to come out and tell us what he knew, because I mean Anthony Albanese will, I think, pretty much announce an inquiry into this later this morning, and that will compel probably, or not compel, but require him to Scott Morrison to tell us stuff.
No, it's going to be interesting to see how it all unfolds and how many jobs he actually did give himself.
He might have your job, might have.
That's right, exactly.
Carlton coach.
Breakfast with Will and ScoMo. Yeah. Good on you, Phil. Carlton coach, yeah, well, only one more game. You going to make the 8?
Nah.
How'd you go in that final 2 minutes, Phil? I did think of you.
My kids walked out of the room. They just couldn't watch me anymore. My first memory of watching Carlton was 1972. That was 50 years ago, and I would say without a shadow of doubt that was the worst loss I've ever experienced in 50 years.
Yeah.
Just killed me.
Hey, at least you played well, though. It was a good game and you played well.
Yeah, but all I can think of, why did we do... Where was this effort against the Crows?
Well, exactly.
We would have thumped you blokes if we'd turned up and put in half that effort, and that's what... But honestly, I was a ball of hatred. I can't do it anymore. It's going to kill me.
Oh, Phil. It's taking years off your life. Phil Curry for the Australian Financial Review.
I was a ball of hatred.
Yeah, long-suffering Carlton correspondent as well.
I just had total flashbacks to sitting next to Phil in the Canberra Bureau in like 1997. He came in on Monday. You see that garbage? Took about 3 days to get over it.
Can we just reflect a little bit on that Scott Morrison text message to Sky? I would like everyone listening this morning, if you still work, to turn up to your workplace and the first inquiry you get of the day, respond with, look, I'm not really into the day-to-day running of insert whatever your business does anymore. I'm not really interested.
I don't really sort of see myself as a radio broadcaster. Tommy Wren, he doesn't really consider himself as much as a sports journo.
How many workplaces in the world do you get away with that in? Is there any others? Look, I'm not really interested in that anymore. I'm just here.
It's the Mark Wahlberg quote from The Departed. I'm the guy who can do his job. You must be the other guy.
Exactly right. Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. We've been exchanging texts running about this port presser this morning. Do you think it's Robbie Gray?
Yeah, I think so. Tried to ring the club. They've gone to ground, which is fair enough. They're trying to get
they want to make it an event.
A bit of air. 10:35 this morning. This wasn't part of their media weekly update, which we get on Mondays. So I would suspect, given he was rested last week, a lot of speculation about his future. I think in a few hours' time we're going to get confirmation that Robbie Gray will call it quits. And 270 games, 4-time All-Australian, 3-time All-Australian, best and fairest rather, and 5-time Showdown medalist. What a way to go out. I think if he's not the best player the Power have ever had in the AFL, I think he's just a shade behind Warren Treadray, but he's right up there. He's absolute royalty at Port Adelaide. So I suspect 10:35 this morning, we'll have the official press conference with Robbie Gray announcing his retirement.
Good for Port that they get to do it at a home game as well.
And he
deserves a send-off like that.
And gives it a nice narrative this week, doesn't it? I mean, he has been the Showdown nemesis for the Crows, hasn't he? He's been such a wonderful player.
But he's one of those guys, though, when even though you're barracking your heart out against him,
you can't hate him.
No, you can't. And you just watch him and go, oh my God, how did he do
that? There are guys that are too good to hate.
Yeah.
You just go, you doff your cap and say, well, that's just too good.
Yep.
And he's provided so many of those performances where you say, look, you can't be unhappy about being bested by a great sometimes. It sucks.
He's a beautiful plaer.
But you can't hate the guy. He's a superstar.
He'd be in my top 5 of all time to watch, I reckon. I just love him. He's that good. I think he's just... His ability to get out of space, unparalleled. He's just amazing. And I think Phil should have more confidence, by the way, Kerry. I think they beat Collingwood this week, and I think they win pretty comfortably.
Ooh,
I'm really confident.
Really?
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm bullish. I think Collingwood are higher than they deserve to be.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think it's a false economy with the Pies. Anyway, watch Collingwood win by 10 goals now.
like this text from a Crows fan too. Josh Kennedy, Ben Cunnington and now Gray. Give us a spell. It's been the run of you get to play the Crows if there's a milestone, you're retiring or, you're celebrating a remarkable comeback to football. Reddy, thank you for that.
Good work, boys.
Hey,
2 from 3, though.
We're on the lookout. That's right. Hasn't hurt the result thus far. We're on the lookout for an Elvis impersonator this morning. If you're an Elvis impersonator, we want to hear from you. 8223 0000. Of course, today is August the 16th, a day that lives in long in the memory of Elvis fans, because August 16, 1977 was the day that Elvis died. So what are we at, 45 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
45 years ago today. So he would have been 87 today, 87 if he was around today. I'm going to talk a little bit about Elvis later. I saw the Baz Luhrmann film over the weekend. It was excellent. So the way in which there's some filmmaking techniques that involve. You've seen it, Rennie?
I haven't. No, I need to.
There are some filmmaking techniques where they mould in real and fictional footage. Mm-hmm. It's just mind blowing. And I'm no Baz Luhrmann fan, but it was really, some of it was quite spectacular. Elvis fans, you'd have to see it. All right, let's check traffic, and when we return, we'll have more, including some John Blake.
Thanks, Will. Clarence Gardens, we've got a truck that's brought some power lines down at Winston Avenue near Avenue Road. Avoid that area if you can. Croydon Park, there's a smash in the north-south motorway on-ramp from Regency Road, causing what heavy delays at the moment. FIVEAA water mains around, one at McGill, Penfold Road near McGill Road, another one at Highgate, Fullerton Road just before Cross Road, and we're busy right now, South Road at Mile End. Keep an eye for camera 2, Pierce Street, Glenelg. That's there right now. Want a delicious meal or snack? Head to Guzmani Gomez for their nacho fries, just $9.90. Yes, nacho fries, just $9.90 at GYG for a limited time only. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Please don't hold this against me, but if buy urban bathrooms and kitchens is not your thing, well, that's okay. I mean, if people gushing over your new kitchen and bathroom means nothing to you, nothing at all, that's completely fine, I guess. But if you do appreciate millimetre-perfect craftsmanship and service of the highest standard, start here. Buyurban.com.au, Adelaide's home renovation experts.
Enjoy a magical day out with Holiday Wonders Safari to Monado. Celebrate all of the new baby arrivals since your last visit. Board your cosy coach from several convenient locations and sit back and enjoy your African safari in comfort. Tour includes lunch at the house in Harndorf and is now priced at just $99 for this incredible day out. Holiday Wonders, Belair Road opposite Mitcham Shopping Centre. holidaywonders.com.au.
Speak with One Solution and they'll tell you cybercrime is not a big business problem, a government problem, or a small enterprise problem. It's everyone's problem. Ransomware, malware, and adware remain the #1 threat. One call to One Solution will put your business in a safe place. It's the smartest, most cost-effective business decision you'll ever make. Get in touch with One Solution, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award. onesolution.net.au.
Need a forklift? Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Toyota is the world's #1 forklift brand with a great range of pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options, Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get a Toyota forklift.
Dreaming of a new bathroom or kitchen? Get the best brands and the latest trends at Adelaide Bathroom and Kitchen Supplies. The ABK Supplies showroom has just been renovated to showcase new tapware ranges from ADP, Mia, Fienza, Nero, Phoenix and Abbey. With designs in gunmetal, brushed nickel, matte black and brushed gold and chrome, your kitchen and bathroom will be stylish and timeless. Browse the new displays at ABK, Adelaide Bathroom and Kitchen Supplies, Lower North East Road opposite Dernancourt Village.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Thanks to the Credit Union SA term deposit account with great interest per annum. T's and C's apply.
8 minutes to 8. The Nord Flames under-14 girls team is our team. It's the team adopted by 5AA Breakfast. They reached out to us with them being invited to the National Club Championships, effectively representing the entire state in Sydney. And they needed a little bit of help fundraising-wise. Lots of people have come to the party. 5AA's jumped on board. And, of course, too, we've adopted them on 5AA Breakfast as our team. And we like to check in on how they're doing every now and then in the lead-up to this invite-only club. This is the Champions League of basketball in Australia.
Yeah.
And the peak at which it goes to is under 14. This for mine is it's like being it's frankly like being a World Cup champion. And the girls are just in some rare form at the moment too. Taking on Nord Sturt. Rivalry that I know you're familiar with, David.
Oh, yes.
No rivalry this weekend, though. Our girls got up 78-27 at home. 51-point shellacking. 51-point shellacking, featuring some just superb performances too. Nari Freckleton. Nari, dominant. 16 points, season high for her. Working into form at the right time as we come up to the championships as well. Couple of great steals, forced turnovers, so she's working at the defensive end as well. Couple of conversions. I assume they mean she's gone coast to coast. Nari, good on you and good on the girls. The team is continuing their fundraising efforts, holding a pasta night Friday night, raising a further $1,000 towards the team's goal. So they're working through the local competition. They're easing into form ahead of the championships. We're going to keep checking in with them periodically over that period, and then, of course, we're going to follow them right as they go up against the creme de la creme of basketball in this country a little bit later this year. And some great news too. Other people want to jump on board. This is a success train that cannot be stopped. Mike Dobbin knows a winner. He knows success, and he knows he needs to be part of this action. And from McGain Real Estate, he's called in on 5AA Breakfast. Mike, good morning to you.
Well, Pembo, how are you guys?
Good, mate. We're delighted to hear this. You're jumping on board.
Yeah, typical me. I've been seeing how much been thrashing teams by, and I thought I need a part of this. Definitely jumped on all these girls there.
Hey, in all seriousness, though, Mike, thank you, because I mean, there's a huge. We mentioned the pasta night they're doing. There's a huge amount of fundraising that needs to be done to get this off the ground and get these girls travelling interstate. And you've chipped in a significant sum of money.
Yeah, we've taken brands to help them out. Look, these girls are the future, obviously. So, as much as we can do now is try and help the girls win a gold medal in the Olympics. Probably in about we'll be talking probably 4 to 6 years time.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
it's a worthy investment.
You're getting in early, Mike.
Very early. You've got to get in early, this sort of stuff, because some of these people make $10 million a year, so we've got to get away with it.
That's right. That's an excellent point you made.
You might be able to help them buy a $10 million house after all of this is over as well.
You guys at McGain's, you guys are incredibly generous. Whenever we have a call to action on this program in this station, you guys chip in, and we can't thank you enough for it. And this is just another example of why we always say we love having businesses that are based here with South Australian people that give us stuff and they help out other people. And you're doing it here with these girls, Mike. So thank you, mate. We really appreciate it.
Good on you, Mike.
No, good on you. Our pleasure, guys.
Fantastic.
Mike Dobbin, who is McGain Real Estate. Does
It's a great
wonderful
story.
job there. This
Go the Flames.
$1,000
Even if
chipped
you did
in.
beat Norwood by 500 points. Sorry, Sturt, by 500 points.
They did 51 points. I struggle with the calculation. You usually have to calculate 51-point margins in basketball. That's superb. But, hey, this is it. The step up in competition is going to come when they start matching against these big Eastern States clubs as well. So we're looking forward to that. We're going to continue the build-up. Go Nord Flames under 14 girls, Div 1. You are, I mean, I don't want to put too much pressure on, the hope of the state.
Yeah.
The hope of the state.
That's right.
It's been a tough period for
the real pride of South Australia.
Our football fans have let us down in our time of need. So we're all jumping on board. Go you girls. All right, let's give it over to John Blake, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast on 13 13 64.
Now, the latest news with Wallace Fogg. Good morning, early risers. This is Wallace Fogg with another 5AA news update. The Somerton Man mystery is still in the news. It was recently revealed that his name is Carl Webb and he was an electrical engineer from Melbourne. Now, a Gippsland gentleman has come forward and revealed that DNA testing has confirmed that he is Carl Webb's first cousin 3 times removed. Adelaide University's Professor Derek Abbott, the man responsible for uncovering the Somerton Man's identity, said there are dozens of people related to Carl Webb still alive, probably living in Queensland and Victoria, and he would like them to contact him so he can finish filling in the missing pieces of the puzzle. This comes as a lot of people are now saying that the Somerton Man was a lot more interesting when we didn't know who he was. Being an engineer from Victoria just doesn't have the same ring to it as being a Russian spy. In an effort to make him interesting again, it has been suggested that the Somerton Man was indeed an engineer but planted in Australia by the KGB as a sleeper agent, and the code they found were his activation orders to begin the process of world domination. Trouble is, by that time he'd started to like being Australian and didn't want to do it, so they took him out with an undetectable poison dart. It's been revealed his name was actually Dmitry Vasily Semenov, late of the KGB. See? Now he's interesting again. In other news, a bombshell revelation about former Prime Minister Scott Morrison has current Prime Minister Anthony Albanese seeking legal advice. It's been revealed that Scott Morrison secretly swore himself in as minister in key portfolios without the knowledge of ministers already in those roles. In March 2020, he was sworn in as the second Health Minister and second Finance Minister, with the move never being made public, even to the actual ministers Greg Hunt and Matthias Cormann. Through a certain administrative instrument, the swearing-in ceremony didn't require the involvement of the Governor-General, so Mr Morrison was able to do it himself. He apparently ran into trouble when he found himself holding the Bible in one hand, raising the other hand, and then trying to hold the piece of paper with the pledge on it and kept dropping the Bible, for which he then had to confess and atone for that sin at a later time, even though it hasn't been confirmed that dropping the Bible is in fact a sin. Prime Minister Albanese is now looking into reports that Scott Morrison also secretly swore himself in as Chancellor of Germany, King of England, and the President of the Port Adelaide Football Club. And finally, the Adelaide City Council is being sued by an Adelaide medical centre for negligence after the premises were flooded by stormwater 33 times in 15 months. The stormwater was from the nearby South Parklands that it's claimed the council has failed to adequately manage. In a separate flooding suit, the council is being sued by ratepayers for flooding the council with useless councillors. And that's the news for this Tuesday morning. I'm Wallace Fogg. More 5AA news coming up at 8 o'clock, or as close as we can get.
Yeah, the 8 o'clock news coming up. More from John Blake after 8:30. We go behind closed doors. Still on the lookout for an Elvis person. I want to speak to someone who's spent a lifetime inhabiting the essence of the king on the day that we mark his passing some 45 years ago.
Put on your rhinestone suit, folks. Come on here and give us a bit of the old hunker burn and love.
Absolutely.
City Discount Tires. Get saving this month at City Discount Tires. When you buy 3 Wild Peak AT3W all-terrain tyres, you'll get the 4th tyre free. The perfect tyre for your next adventure. City Discount Tires are a proud multi-tyre and wheel brand retailer offering great service at great prices. Visit citydiscounttires.com.au to find your nearest store. City Discount Tires. We're driven by value.
City Discount Tires.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 16 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra Marion have a hydrotherapy pool now on site. Contact Physio Extra Marion or head to physioextra.com.
A woman has been arrested for attempted murder after an alleged late-night stabbing involving 2 children on the side of the road. David Bruce reports.
Just before 11:30 last night, police were called to the north-south motorway at Wingfield after a call from a member of the public saying a woman had been detained. Police will allege the woman stopped her car and removed her 2 young children before stabbing them with a knife. A member of the public stopped his car on the motorway and intervened, disarming the woman. Soon after, he was helped by other members of the public who restrained the woman until police arrived. The 2 young children from Modbury Heights were taken to the Women's and Children's and were treated for critical injuries. They remain in hospital in a stable condition. The 35-year-old woman from Modbury Heights was taken to the RAH and will likely be charged with 2 counts of attempted murder.
A 63-year-old man was taken to hospital in a critical condition last night after being hit by a car. It happened on Honeypot Road at Hackham West shortly after 7. The driver, a 34-year-old Morphett Vale man, was not injured and is assisting police with their inquiries. Scott Morrison is under pressure from his own colleagues to explain his secret ministerial manoeuvres. It's been revealed the former Prime Minister gave himself the power to overrule decisions made by the appointed Health, Finance and Resources Ministers. Anthony Albanese has launched an investigation into the behaviour, branding it tin pot activity. Nationals leader David Littleproud wants answers.
On the face of it, it looks pretty ordinary. And I think that's why it's important to rebuild trust and faith within the institutions that our parliament and our nation and our democracy is built on. It's important that the former Prime Minister gives an explanation.
More than half the nation's aged care workers believe the federal government's reform agenda is doomed to fail, according to a new survey. It also reveals up to 140,000 staff are planning to leave the sector over the next 3 years, mainly due to low pay and being overworked. CEO of CompliSpace, David Griffiths, says most workers believe the new targets will be impossible to reach.
The government is introducing new laws to improve levels of care for older Australians. Introducing these laws is a good move. However, the majority of aged care workers believe these laws will be impossible to comply with. For these reforms to be successful, we need a stable and growing workforce.
The riders in the 2023 Tour Down Under Challenge won't have to share the road with cars. In a first for the event, they'll be closed when the amateurs get on their bikes. The challenge will take place on Friday, January 20. The pack riding from Norwood to Campbelltown via Norton Summit, Checker Hill and Corkscrew Road. Race director Stuart O'Grady says closing the roads to vehicles makes sense.
It just opens it up. It's a lot safer for the riders knowing that they can use a bit more of the road.
The UK is the first country to develop a dual COVID vaccine targeting the first strain of the virus and the Omicron variant. The Moderna vaccine will be administered as a booster shot, with clinical trials showing a good immune response to both variants. Moderna UK's Darius Hughes says it's a busy virus that's been mutating since its inception.
What this vaccine helps to do is it gives us another piece of armoury, really, another tool in the box, so that we can go after it and make sure that we're protecting the British public over this autumn and winter when they get their boosters against the ever-evolving production and the ever-evolving virus.
The annual candlelight vigil at Graceland will get underway later this morning. Elvis fans from around the world converge on his former home every August to remember the King. He died 45 years ago today, aged 42. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Order a Gliderol roller door and operator by September 30 for some free upgrades. Search Gliderol for details.
There's some breaking news in footy, Tom Wren.
Yeah, there certainly is, Mel, and there is speculation this morning that Port Adelaide veteran Robbie Gray will announce his retirement. The Power have just released a statement saying a player will hold a press conference at 10:35am this morning. Well, meantime, Ben Rutten's stint as Essendon coach could be on borrowed time. The club is in turmoil. President Paul Brasher resigning, replaced by David Barham. The Bombers are believed to have met with Hawthorn Premiership coach Alistair Clarkson, the Bombers' greatest goal kicker, arguing the former Hawks great should be the club's top target.
I did say 2 months ago, why aren't Essendon in this race? Because there's a man by the name of Alistair Clarkson. So I said it a couple of months ago. I think that Alistair is quite a confronting person because he'll come in and he will just...
Tornado?
There could be a tornado, but to me, that is what this football club needs.
Matthew Lloyd there. Well, Liverpool's frustrating start to the English Premier League seasons continued after being held to a 1-1 draw against Crystal Palace. The Reds' issues worsened with star striker Darwin Núñez sent off early in the second half. That was after headbutting an opponent. Australia's Davis Cup team of Alex de Minaur, Thanasi Kokkinakis, Matt Ebden and Max Purcell have been drawn to face Germany, Belgium and France at the tournament's finals. 2-time Giro d'Italia winner and double Olympic silver medalist Tom Dumoulin has announced his immediate retirement from cycling. And former Australian cricket commentator and legendary broadcaster Ian Chappell has called time on his commentating days. The 78-year-old has been commentating for 45 years and admits he's been contemplating the decision for some time. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Clarence Gardens, a truck has brought power lines down at Winston Avenue near Avenue Road. Avoid there if you can. Croydon Park, there's a smash on the north-south motorway on-ramp from Regency Road. It's down at one lane, heavy delays inbound. Find another way in if you can. At McGill, got a burst water main, Penfold Road near McGill Road. Penfold Road is closed at Giles Street and detours are in place. And we're busy right now, South Road at Mile End. Also look out for a camera, West Beach Road at West Beach. That's there right now. A historic sports event right here at Adelaide Oval. The rugby doubleheader on Saturday, August 27. Tickets are selling fast only from Ticketek. Don't miss out. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast. Partly cloudy, 16 for your Tuesday. Late showers tomorrow, 19. Thursday, rain and 16. Friday, showers, 15. Right now it's 11 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
If you're due for a service, here's a little reminder of what you get at Mawson Lakes Mazda. Sure, your car gets state-of-the-art servicing by top-trained mechanics. But what do you get? Try next-day servicing, complimentary loan car, vacuum and wash. Oh, and your breakfast or lunch is on us. At Mawson Lakes Mazda, we know that to be the best, we've got to look after your car and look after you. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
Everyone at the back, please. Sitting quietly, please. In a circle, thank you. Today we're going to talk about what we'd like to be when we grow up.
A police girl. Race car driver. I want to be a gymnast. I want to be a concreter. With Adelaide Exposed Concrete. I want to be a concreter too. Me too.
AdelaideExposedConcrete.com.au. Best on ground all year round.
What's a concreter?
You know us for our bright blue vans. Metropolitan Plumbing, Electrical and Air Conditioning. We are the proud winners of the Product Review Award for Plumbing in Australia for 2020 and 21. Did you know we offer $0 deposit interest-free payment plans, have no extra charge for after hours and can also often be at your door within the hour? Metropolitan Plumbing, Electrical and Air Conditioning. Available 24/7.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Thanks to the Credit Union SA Term Deposit Account with great interest per annum. T's and C's apply.
9 minutes after 8. Scott Morrison's just done an interview on TGB in Sydney. We'll play you the highlights from it and the lowlights. That's coming up very, very shortly. So that'll be the first opportunity you'll get to hear his view on the story that's dominated headlines for the last 24 hours. Then after that, we're going to chat with Dr. Louise Flood, who is the head of the Communicable Disease Control Branch for SA Health on RSV, which, as you said, David, is running rife through schools, kindies and other places at the moment. Respiratory disease that a lot of kids are coming down with, and they typically get it worse than they get COVID. So it's notable for that reason as well. So we'll get to that very, very shortly. And, of course, you can be part of the show at any time on 8223 0000 or text us on the Automasters text line 0448 08 1395.
Well, for breaking at 8, we cross over to our good friends at SAPOL now to catch up with Senior Constable Matt Brown to get the latest on this shocking double stabbing that occurred overnight. Matt, what's the latest? It happened on the Northern Expressway, did it not?
That's right, David. A woman's been arrested after allegedly stabbing her 2 children in a car on a motorway at Wingfield late last night. So just before 11:30pm, police were called to the north-south motorway at Wingfield after a member of the public called to advise that a woman had been detained. And police alleged that the woman had stopped her car and removed her 2 young children from the car before stabbing them with a knife. And a member of the public stopped his car on the motorway and intervened, disarming the woman, and soon after he was assisted by other members of the public who restrained the woman until police arrived. So the 2 young children from Modbury Heights were taken to the Women's and Children's Hospital by Ambos, where they were treated for critical injuries, but they remain in hospital in a stable condition. So the woman, a 35-year-old from Modbury Heights, was arrested and taken to the Royal Adelaide Hospital, where she's been detained and will face 2 charges of attempted murder. So Western District detectives are still investigating the incident and ask anyone who may have witnessed it and hasn't already contacted police to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000, or if you were travelling in the area at the time and may have captured the incident on dash cam footage, police are also keen to speak to you.
So, Matt, we don't. So the kids were critical. They're now stable, which is good news. Do you have an age on the children yet?
No, not yet. Sorry, no.
No. And is there anything about the woman's condition at the time? Like, do we know whether she was affected by drugs or anything like that, or you're not at liberty to discuss that yet?
Well, we don't have that information at this stage, David, but as you mentioned, investigations are ongoing, and I mean, obviously the woman is in custody now, which is the main thing. So, and as I mentioned, she'll face charges at some stage today.
Yeah, thank you for that, Matt.
Thank you.
What a shocking story.
Just appalling.
Unbelievable.
Coming at yeah, absolutely. We'll await further information before commenting further on that, because it just sounds truly horrific, that story. Let's get to some text on the Automasters text line. Scott's offering his services to the Nord Flames under-14 girls side, having previously won a free-throw shooting competition. I think it was at Marion Shopping Centre from memory.
Yeah. Nothing but nylon.
He's the Fred Vincent of South Australian basketball, perhaps. I'm not sure, Scott. They're dominating. Anonymous says it's not rare for, mate. They're a machine. You read out the stats for Nord next week after they play Woodville. My daughter's team will have a problem, Goodings. Well, I don't want to pick fights, but hey, we're all on board.
Will's nailed his colours to the mast.
And you know, as a partisan sports fan, I am truly obnoxious.
Well, Matt from Strathalbyn agrees with your last assertion, Will. He says, morning, gents. I commend you for supporting the Nord Flames, but please don't say they're the only team from SA going to the Nationals in Sydney. The Eastern Mavericks under-14 girls made the Nationals too, representing SA. My daughter's in the Mavs team. She's quite upset hearing you say that the Flames were the state's only chance.
Well, we are...
My advice, Matt, tell your daughter, take Will's partisan analysis of this and use that as the motivation, as the impetus to spur you forward. Maybe
put it up on the locker somewhere.
Get a photo of him. Just print one out off the FIVEAA website and say,
look at this idiot.
Let's share. I didn't want to go that hard, but why not?
Look at this idiot.
Look at this idiot.
We don't exist to these morons.
Yeah,
you get out there and...
these city-based teen basketball analysts don't know what's going on in Strathalbyn.
Which is okay, which is fine, and I'm happy for my words to be used however you like, and I apologise to your daughter, and she's done an excellent job making that great team. But the Nord Flames, in the eyes of this program, there is only one team.
I went off them a bit, I got to admit, when I found out they beat Sturt by so much. I was going to say, who was umpiring? Des Foster?
Okay, you can have that.
Apologies, Mr. Foster, if you're listening.
You can have that position, but when they're the champions of Australia, don't be joining them. Don't be touching the trophy for that magnificent circuit around the court and the country celebrating excellence and greatness. Okay, now this is good. I'm going to make more enemies in that segment every single week. That's going to be my aim now. Now let's talk about Scott Morrison. He was on 2GB just a short time ago and started. You know, his previous assertion to Sky News was that he wasn't really interested in politics anymore, despite still being a politician, and so he didn't talk. Today he's clearly talked because the pressure has been brought to bear on the decisions that led to him becoming, secretly, the minister for a whole heap of portfolios, even when the responsible minister was entirely unaware of how that did come about. So here is he's in the first instance here addressing being sworn in as Health and Finance Minister back in March 2020.
Sometimes we forget what was happening 2 years ago. And the situation we were dealing with, it was a very unprecedented time. And as a result, they were very unconventional times. And, for example, we had Boris Johnson, who almost died one night. I remember that night very vividly. I was very concerned he wouldn't be with us in the morning. We had ministers back in March who, went down with COVID, and Peter Dutton was out for some time. And so we were dealing with quite extraordinary circumstances.
He was asked then why, okay, that might be one thing, but why didn't Matthias Cormann, as the finance minister, know what was going on?
I thought that had been done through officers, to be honest, Ben, and that was an oversight. And Matthias, I've apologised to Matthias for that.
Why didn't you have a conversation with Matthias Cormann?
Well, they were at different levels. The Biosecurity Act was quite specific. Matthias's arrangements were done off the back of that as a prudent safeguard. I didn't have any real expectation we'd have to use those. But given we were doing the health ones, we did the finance ones as well.
Sorry, that is the lamest explanation I've ever heard. Someone in the department was meant to tell him?
At best, it suggests they didn't have a great relationship, doesn't it? Oh, it was someone else's job. This is the one I think, for mine, I don't know, we've got some differing views on this. This third question is the one that I think is truly indefensible. And it goes to what happened not in March 2020, but in April 2021, when he used the same powers to take over responsibility from Keith Pitt, who was in charge of resources. Here's what he said about that.
Yeah, that was a very, very different issue. This was a very important issue. It was one that I sought to be the decision maker on that issue because of its importance. And again, this was a power a minister has that is not overseen by Cabinet. To put it this way, I mean, people know where the buck stops, and the buck stops with the Prime Minister.
Yeah, that's
the most sinister take on that, because it's got nothing to do with COVID.
No.
You could, the darkest version of what happened there is that the Prime Minister, using the cover of COVID, usurped the role of the Resources Minister to veto a project. One of our listeners texted before on the Automasters text line saying they'd actually invested some of their own money in that gas project. That for partisan political gain to win seats in the Hunter Valley, the Prime Minister went over the top of the Minister, who was armed with all of the departmental advice, and said that multi-million dollar project is not going to happen. Like, that is actually an argument for a federal ICAC.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't, there's no rationalising what happened there. That felt like it got really cute insofar as, hey, remember that we did that thing about the ministers for COVID? Well, couldn't we don't have to have the whole rolling a minister publicly brouhaha. That's a very ugly business.
The words that echo in my mind with a lot of this too, that bizarre, sermon that the ex-PM gave when he went to Margaret Court's church in Perth, when he said you can't trust government. What? He almost single-handedly was the government.
It's fascinating story. You know what I think this... And
are you coming around, Will?
No. As I look, replay the tape. I said right at the start the Keith bit of this stinks to high heaven. The rest of it, I understand in the moment, and I don't think you can divorce it from the context of it being March 2020 when the world was falling apart.
But surely you don't understand or defend the lack of transparency.
That's just being bad at your job. And I think that's a very different charge than saying there was some sinister plot to run a shadow government, which I think is ludicrous.
He wasn't that good at candour, the old Scope.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
On a whole bunch of different things.
It's a fascinating subject. 8223 if you've got thoughts. We've had lots of texts on it early on too on the Automasters text line 0480081395. We'll check traffic and then we're going to talk RSV. Has anyone in your family had this? Any young people? It seems to be really rife in schools at the moment. Do you have any questions about it? We'll speak with an expert, Dr. Louise Flood, right after this.
Thanks, Will. At Croydon Park, there's a smash on the north-south motorway on-ramp from Regency Road. It's down at one lane and heavy delays inbound. Avoid that if you can. At Clarence Gardens, truck has brought power lines down at Winston Avenue near Avenue Road, so avoid that area. And McGill got a burst water main Penfold Road near McGill Road. Penfold Road is closed to Giles Street and detours are in place. Busy at the moment, the Northern Expressway to Wammer Road with the camera, West Beach Road at West Beach. That camera's there right now. Elvis is Coming, directed by Baz Luhrmann and starring Austin Butler and Tom Hanks. Don't miss Elvis, Fast Track to Your Home. new to buy and rent on digital. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Tim Ginniver now joins Stephen Rowe every afternoon for the new look 5AA Sports Show.
He's our defensive coach, but he's probably the most passionate showdown performer we ever had. Welcome, Chad Corns.
Chad, well done for resting Robbie so he can win his 6th showdown medal, mate. Yeah, good one. We're expecting an announcement there this week, do you think?
He hasn't told me a thing.
Rowie and Timmy G.
And this is completely Robbie's decision. He's a guy that keeps things close to his chest.
4 p.m. weekdays on 5AA.
Jason Clark from Simons Clark Logistics talks about One Solution and how they streamlined his business.
We were lacking an integrated approach to our IT. We needed support and to future-proof our business. Security was also a concern for us. One Solution assessed and designed a new reliable, failure-safe solution for our business. Combined with the local help desk, IT support at Simons Clark is now in a great position for the future.
Visit onesolution.net.au, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award.
Mini Jumbuck, now in McLaren Vale, make Australia's favourite wool bedding products, proudly made right here in South Australia. Mini Jumbuck uses the finest Australian wool to handcraft their quilts, mattress toppers, pillows and more. Sleeping with wool allows your body to adjust to its ideal temperature, so you'll sleep more peacefully and wake refreshed. If you're looking to improve your quality of sleep, start with a visit to Mini Jumbuck McLaren Vale today, open 7 days. Mini Jumbuck McLaren Vale, Australian made, Australian owned.
Now, I heard about this Toop switch recently. This is amazing. Comes from Toop and Toop Real Estate. You might have pieced that together. If a landlord isn't happy with their agency, they can switch to Toop and Toop, and in most cases, it costs nothing.
Now, look, it's an amazing scheme, and who wouldn't want their property looked after by the best in the business? Their service and technology alone are worth making the switch.
And it takes just a phone call. Toop and Toop organise everything, even dealing with the other agency on your behalf. And it's that easy. Let them do the legwork.
It's awesome stuff. And look, listen up, landlords. If you want the best in the business taking care of your investment, get started by calling Toop 8362 8800 or visiting Toop's excellent website toop.com.au today.
Meet the LDV T60 Max with 160 kilowatts of power. It's one hell of a ute with one hell of an engine. So if you want a hell of a lot of power, then you're in a hell of a lot of luck. Because the LDV T60 Max 4x4 diesel with 160 kilowatts is one hell of a deal. From just $34,990 for ABN holders. Visit a dealer today. LDV. Bring it on. T's and C's and exclusions at ldvautomotive.com.au.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
For an interest rate that really pays, consider a Credit Union SA term deposit account. T's and C's apply.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes after 8. Here's a sign of the times statement that comes from the always measured government of Iran. They've put out a statement about Salman Rushdie being stabbed.
Oh, yeah.
And they've said they categorically deny any link with the attacker, and they say no one has the right to accuse the Republic of Iran. But they say that in the attack, we do not consider anyone other than Salman Rushdie and his supporters worthy of blame and even condemnation.
That's nice.
So thanks for, really appreciate their sympathies at this difficult time.
Rocketing towards the 10th century over there in Tehran, aren't they, in terms of their enlightenment levels?
Unbelievable. RSV, now you might as well talk from personal experience, because you've seen it in schools, haven't you, in mothers' groups and chat rooms and whatnot.
When something starts going off on a mothers' group, you can put your house on the fact that it's a story. And Kate was telling me the other night, and obviously it's been backed up by so much absenteeism due to this condition at our local school. It's something that's become quite a significant issue across the state, and particularly given that I completely made a hash of the acronym yesterday and what it stood for, we thought we'd talk to an expert, Dr. Louise Flood, who is the director of the Communicable Disease Branch. We have Dr. Flood on the line. Thank you so much for your time, Doctor. So RSV, what's it stand for, what is it, and how bad is it at the moment?
So RSV is respiratory syncytial virus.
It is a respiratory infection caused by a virus that there's quite a bit of it around at the moment, and it's a virus that causes illness, particularly in those who are very young, with currently the median age of around 2 years of age, and it causes a bronchiolitis and a pneumonia, so an inflammation of the small air passages of the lungs or of the lung tissue itself.
Anything involving kids at that age and breathing difficulty strikes fear into the hearts of parents. What are the things to look for, and what's the best way to deal with it? Because I know from personal experience, and it's doing parents' heads in at the moment because of COVID rules. The moment your child gets sick with anything sort of COVID-like, you're often told, well, you can't actually go to the GP.
So RSV causes a respiratory-like illness, as I mentioned. So it causes like a fever, a runny nose, or a cough, and some wheezing. And as I said, it can be particularly more severe in younger children. So if you suspect that your child is unwell with RSV or any other respiratory illness, I suggest you contact your GP and work out how you can get your child seen, whether they are happy to see you face-to-face or what they would like to do. But if you have a young child who's unwell with a respiratory illness, they do need to be seen by a GP.
Yeah, and look, certainly not a criticism of you because it's not up to you, but are you aware of some of the sort of vagaries of getting in at the moment on account of COVID?
Yeah, so that's probably not something I should comment on. I can just comment to say
Sounds like
there
you
is
know
a
what
lot
I'm
of
talking
RSV.
about.
There is a lot of RSV around. It is something that happens each autumn and winter. But there's a lot of other illnesses around. So it is, if you do have a young child who's unwell, it's best to contact your GP to work out how to get them seen, because it's very hard to tell the difference between what an illness is. You know, whether it's COVID, whether it's RSV, or whether it's any of the other illnesses that are circulating at the moment.
Dr. Flood, are we seeing any out of the ordinary virus behaviour given the weirdness of the last couple of years, where you've had kids either being masked up and viruses and things have not been able to spread as easily, or they've been learning from home and haven't been in areas where they've all congregated together? Are there increased incidents of things like this at the moment, or immunity's down, or is it basically back to how it was in 2018?
Well, RSV is something that we hasn't been notifiable. It only became notifiable late last year, so we don't have the actual numbers from previous years, but we do have some information on previous lab testing, and it doesn't appear to be any higher than we've had in previous years for this time of year. Flu is something that has been circulating as well. The numbers for flu have decreased, but again, we've had a much bigger year for flu than we had in the last couple of years, but it's not any bigger than we've had a few. It's decreased now compared with what we had earlier, but the actual numbers. So this year has been a bigger year than we had in 2018, 2019, but not as big as we had. Sorry, I'm kicking my years wrong. It's not as big as we had in 2017 and 2019,
that was that horrible peak
which
year.
were those two big years.
Yeah.
But bigger than we've had in the last few years. But it has decreased significantly over the past few weeks.
That's great. Dr. Louise Flood from the I can't say that word, Communicable Diseases Branch. Thanks for joining us this morning. And look, quick show of hands, folks. Who's having trouble getting their kid into the doctor? We've already I mentioned it once, and obviously Dr. Flood was being diplomatic there because she doesn't set that part of government policy. But it is, we're in this
is it
bizarre
government policy? It's just practice policy, a lot of it, isn't it?
Well, but it would be based on SA health advice, wouldn't it? I mean, we seem to be in this absurd situation where if it looks like your child might be like really sick, you can't take them to the doctor.
Yeah.
And what's that doing to the hospitals as well? What's it doing to EDs? How many parents just go, well, I've got to see someone. Jim in Golden Grove texted in, Dave's spot on. Couldn't get my child in yesterday until they had a negative PCR. They had pneumonia 5 years ago, so we're a bit paranoid. No option other than to go to emergency. Having witnessed a few PCR tests being done on the 5-year-old, I'll tell you what, I think I'm still bruised from holding him in the car going to Victoria Park.
We'll get to some of those calls and texts in a moment. 29 minutes after 8.
And the Polar Air Heating and Cooling Salesperson of the Month is... no one. Again. Polar Air Heating and Cooling don't have a sales department. The person that comes to you for a free no-obligation quote is a qualified installer, not someone chasing a commission. So, you'll get exactly what you need. No steak knives. Get ahead of the weather. We're ready to install your air conditioner now. Polar Air Heating and Cooling. For when your lair is unbearable. polarairhc.com.au.
Have you got your ticket in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery? It could be your ticket to live mortgage-free by the beach in the $3 million grand prize at Somerton Park. The fully furnished and professionally styled Scott Salisbury home is what dreams are made of, and it could all be yours. Plus, it comes with $250,000 cash. Support South Australia's healthcare heroes and get your tickets today. homelottery.com.au. Licence M14227.
Gliderol has manufactured and installed garage doors in SA since 1974, and their commitment to quality is as strong as ever. So if it's time for a new look for your house or time to upgrade, why not now? Order a new roller door, sectional door or customer designer door with operator by December 30th and you'll receive a free premium operator upgrade and 2 bonus handsets. For a free measure and quote and helpful advice, search Gliderol today. Retail customers only, T's and C's apply.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 16 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Looking for the perfect winter exercise? Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates at 6 locations. physioextra.com.
Police are appealing for witnesses after a woman allegedly stabbed her 2 children on the north-south motorway at Wingfield. Senior Constable Matt Brown says the incident happened at the intersection of South Road and Grand Junction Road around 11:30 last night.
Police allege that the woman had stopped her car and removed her 2 young children from the car before stabbing them with a knife. And a member of the public stopped his car on the motorway and intervened, disarming the woman, and soon after he was assisted by other members of the public who restrained the woman until police arrived.
The 2 young children are recovering in the Women's and Children's, where they were treated for critical injuries. They're now in a stable condition. The 35-year-old woman from Modbury Heights is likely to be charged with 2 counts of attempted murder. Scott Morrison has broken his silence over revelations he secretly allocated himself extra ministerial powers. The former Prime Minister took on the health, finance and resources portfolios during the pandemic without informing all his colleagues or the public. It gave him the power to overrule decisions made by the 3 appointed ministers. Mr Morrison says it was necessary at the time.
We had ministers back in March who, went down with COVID, and so we were dealing with quite extraordinary circumstances. And as a result, we had to consider some rather unconventional, I wouldn't even say that, we had to take some extraordinary measures to put safeguards in place.
Ford is testing smart headlights that project directions, speed limits and weather information onto the road. The headlights would connect to a navigation system, which would then display upcoming turns, roundabouts and even merging traffic. At this stage, there's no indication as to when the tech will be rolled out or how much it will cost. Jailed US basketballer Brittany Griner has appealed her drug conviction in Russia. The 2-time Olympic gold medalist was charged after cannabis-infused vape cartridges were found in her luggage at a Moscow airport earlier this year. Prince Harry and Meghan are returning to the UK and Germany next month. Brett McLeod reports.
The Duke and Duchess of Sussex are taking part in 3 charity events in Britain and Germany early next month. One involving the Invictus Games, the others involving young people and seriously ill children. There's no word on whether they'll meet the Queen or any members of the royal family while here. And Harry is still involved in legal action to get a right to hire police protection while they're in Britain.
And the local Elvis Presley fan club has put a tribute in today's paper to mark 45 years since the King left the building. Elvis was 42. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Order a Gliderol roller door by September 30 and you could get free upgrades. Search Gliderol for details.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide veteran Robbie Gray is expected to announce his retirement this morning ahead of this weekend's showdown. The Power have called a press conference for 10:35 a.m. this morning. Well, Under Siege Bombers coach Ben Rutten has arrived at the club's headquarters with his position under threat. It's believed Essendon has been in dialogue with Alistair Clarkson as they attempt to lure the four-time premiership coach to Windy Hill. Meantime, Geelong is hopeful Jeremy Cameron and Reece Stanley will both be fit for finals after suffering injuries against Gold Coast. To soccer, and a 10-man Liverpool has had to do it the hard way, coming from a goal down to draw with Crystal Palace 1-1. The Reds trailed 1-0 at half-time and then lost star striker Darwin Núñez after he was sent off for headbutting, but they were able to salvage a point.
Oh, and that's the way to do it. Lewis Diaz comes up with an absolute pearler. And suddenly the mood changes at Anfield. Brilliant goal.
It certainly was. Audio thanks to Optus. Liverpool now with 2 draws to open their campaign. And Australian golfer Cameron Smith has withdrawn from this week's PGA Tour event in Delaware because of a hip issue. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Croydon Park, there's a smash on the north-south motorway on-ramp from Regency Road. It's down to one lane, heavy delays inbound. At McGill, Burst Water Main, Penfold Road near McGill Road. Penfold Road is closed to Giles Street and detours are in place. And Highgate, Burst Water Main there, Fullerton Road just before Crossroad. It's down to 40 k's both directions. Busy ride now, the parade at Kensington Gardens with a camera at Gawler Road at Virginia. Why pay dealership prices? Get an UltraTune manufacturer's logbook service and get 12 months roadside assistance. Australia's best rated car service brand. Search UltraTune for more. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA forecast, partly cloudy, 16 today, late showers tomorrow, 19, Thursday rain and 16, Friday 15. Right now it's 11 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Do you still love your car? Why not take it to Edwardstown Mazda to see what it's really worth? It's the safest and easiest way to move your car on and get into a new or used Mazda. 862 South Road, Edwardstown.
Terry White Chemmart has real deals on our ibuprofen 96 tablets at just $13.99. Plus, Demazin 12-hour decongestant nasal spray 20ml 2-pack for $11.89. Get real deals every day at Terry White Chemmart. Always follow the directions for use. Ends August 23.
It's a frightening thought. But what if you lost capacity to manage your financial affairs? If you're not at the helm, who makes medical or health decisions? Who gets your superannuation? Who controls the family trust? From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers will answer your questions and help carry out your wishes to the letter. Wills and estate planning. Visit donlanlawyers.com. That's donlanlawyers.com.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube.
For an interest rate that really pays, consider a Credit Union SA term deposit account. T's and C's apply.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
23 to 9, 45 years ago today, Elvis Presley died. Most famous people of the 20th century, is he what? Top 5? Top 10? Just
yeah. Probably.
You're dropped anywhere on planet Earth and you get to say a name. You're pretty safe in knowing someone is going to know who Elvis is, I reckon.
Well, he's got the one name thing going on.
That kicks you into rare
word
air.
associations, like Muhammad Ali, Elvis Presley. Yeah, well, he's in that top 5 with Muhammad Ali, for sure.
So we wanted to talk to some people that love Elvis this morning, and I suspect there's no category of person that loves the King more than those that have ended up devoting their lives to impersonating him and recreating the magic of an Elvis performance. Malcolm is an Elvis impersonator. Malcolm, good morning to you.
Oh, good morning. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's very nice to be on the show. Well, thank you so much. How you going, guys?
We're great, Malcolm.
You can stay in character if you want. How long have you been Elvis for?
Well, I've been doing Elvis on and off. Hang on, there's a bit more to the story. I've been doing Elvis on and off for about 40 years, but I work with I think the second oldest Elvis impersonator in the world.
Really? How old is he?
He's 78.
And he's still doing Elvis?
He's still doing Elvis. He's still getting the jumpsuit on.
Wow.
He's still going around and enjoying it. It's not like, exact Elvis. It's like Elvis for the fun side of it.
Inspired by
people
Elvis.
Get a bit of enjoyment. Exactly, yeah. We do the singing, we do the go around and talk to people, and yes, that sort of thing. It's great.
How'd you get into it?
Basically, the guy was singing Elvis nearly all his life and decided to put on a show for it, which is fantastic.
Have you ever been? Is it Parkes, the town that does the annual Elvis Festival, Malcolm? Have you ever made it over to that?
No, we unfortunately we're very localised. We've been overseas with it, but in a not sport capacity, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We've just gone over there and done it and had a bit of fun with it. But we've been around Australia with it, having a good time doing it in various clubs, from anything from RSLs to retirement villages to pubs and clubs, all that sort of stuff's great.
So you do the full show, you sing and you've got a band and everything?
Well, we're a bit versatile. We have the backing music where the two of us, I play the keyboard and he does the Elvis, and then basically other times when it's just not a show, we actually just do we do a lot of Elvis songs, and people love it.
What about your outfit? Are you early sort of leather Elvis, or are you later sort of 70s?
Oh no, the white jumpsuit, the gold jacket with the glasses and the hair, of course, with the black bit of everything, but not the leather Elvis. We don't do the leather Elvis.
What's the most fun song to perform to crowds?
Oh, there's so many, but I mean, we finish up with a really great song. You Gave Me a Mountain, written by Marty Robbins. But most of the fun songs, you know, Little Sister and All Shook Up and Teddy Bear and of course then The Wonder of You, those sort of things. There's just so many great songs. He actually wears himself out doing it, and when I do it, I wear myself out as well. It's just so much fun.
Yeah,
that's excellent.
Malcolm, really appreciate you calling in this morning, mate. Lovely to chat with you. There is a section in the tributes and condolences part of the paper this morning where the Elvis Fan Club of SA have posted a lovely little note. Nancy from the Sound of Elvis Fan Club here in South Australia joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Morning to you, Nancy.
Good morning.
When did you become an Elvis fan?
Probably when I was about 8 years old.
And what's your first Elvis memory?
I actually remember when he passed away. My dad was a shift worker and he came home from work that morning, and Mum and I and my sister were home having breakfast before school, and he came home and said, "Have you heard what's happened?" And we said no, because in those days there was no social media or whatever. So and put the radio on and we'd heard. So I actually remember that day I don't think I was even 8 years old. So yeah, so that was my first thing.
So tell us a bit about the fan club, Nancy. Are there many people in it? What do you do with your get-togethers?
Okay, we have over 100 members, so it's not huge, but enough to keep us going and keep us active.
Pretty good.
Yeah, we are very active. We actually had a function on Saturday night as our tribute night for his anniversary. We had close to 180 people, and it was a cabaret style. So we had a band and a couple of tribute artists, and they did their bit, and we all danced and had a good night. And that was a fundraiser. So everything we do is fundraising for charity, for our local charity, and we choose one each time.
Oh, great.
So proceeds from Saturday night will be supporting the Special Children's Christmas Party.
Beautiful.
So our next one, next in February. The club is actually 60 years old next year. So we have a tribute night in February, which is going to be our 60th anniversary. Spectacular. It's going to be huge. I don't know what.
That's fantastic.
So we are, and like I said, everything we do is to fundraise and continue on from, and Elvis is very generous.
I'm just looking at the little tribute you put in the paper today, page 44, Presley, Elvis Aaron. It has been 45 years since you left us. We remember you today, tomorrow and forever. The Sound of Elvis Fan Club of SA. And there's another one underneath from just a private individual that just says Presley, Elvis, 8th of the 1st, 1935 to the 16th of the 8th, 1977. I'll remember you, always, Maureen.
Lovely. Gil in Alford has called in. Gil, good morning to you.
Stuart, but that's okay.
Oh, sorry, what was it?
Stuart, how are you?
Stuart, sorry, Stuart. Stuart, you are a self-confessed Elvis tragic, is that right?
Yeah, I got labelled a tragic, that's right. A fanatic.
What's your go-to song, mate, if you really want to get the party started? What's your favourite?
Well, I did my first ever concert at the Butte Town Hall a few weeks ago. So that was a bit fun. Did 3 songs for the we had a category like fundraiser for the footy club, so that was cool.
Oh, you did the songs?
Yeah, I did 3 for the Butte Footy Club. Yeah, we had a band there.
What was your set list?
Well, I did Johnny Be Good, so all the young ones would know it.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Some they might all know, and then we went to Hound Dog and Blue Slate Shoes and left it at that, because I thought after that I'm not sure I'd know anymore.
So being an Elvis tragic, Gil, does that make you... Can you be an Elvis tragic and just be a fan of the music, or do you have to get into the movies as well?
No, I'm not a movie fan, mate. I'm all the music and I've been to Parks and Graceland and all the rest of it. So that's...
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of fun. We went to Parks, took the family to Parks a couple of years ago. We had young kids, they were about 5 and 7. We went there and it was absolutely brilliant. I reckon that's everyone. That was so much fun.
Great call, mate.
Well, Stuart, thank you, mate. Lovely to speak to you. Any other Elvis fans that want to leave a memory with us today, you're more than welcome to do so. We'd love to hear from you. 8223 or text us on the Automasters text line. Sue and Christy...
Top 10 live albums of all time has to contain Elvis live via satellite from Hawaii.
Oh, this is one of your favourites. You've talked about this before.
I cane that record. I love it.
The Elvis
band is so good on that record.
The Elvis back catalogue is a bit Bob Dylan-ish, isn't it? The sheer quantity of it.
If you suddenly get into Elvis, you think, well, hang on, what is this? It's like, if someone says you've got to get into Talking Heads, and you think, well, how many albums do you need to buy? Probably 4. But getting into Elvis is like, it's a commitment.
Except it's a bit sadder with Elvis than it was with Bob, who just clearly every time he has a thought writes an album about it. But Elvis was made into a production line, and they made him record a soundtrack.
It's probably
for
comparable
15
to
of his
Dylan.
movies, I think it was. They just said, now do a soundtrack for it.
I think it's comparable to the Zimmerman, because I think with Dylan, there's probably like 10 albums you need.
Yeah,
maybe more.
Yeah, so yeah, you could distill it down to the essentials. Sue in Christie's Beach sent through a really nice text. She says, I saw Elvis a couple of weeks ago. She's talking about the Baz Luhrmann film. Very evocative and sad. He died exactly 2 weeks after my dad, who was the same age and just as unexpected as well. That must have brought about a whole range of different emotions for you, Sue, watching that and remembering that time. Thank you for that text. David in Aberfoyle Park is on the line. Morning, David.
Morning, guys. My favourite Elvis song I have to be Live from Hawaii via satellite. I play it all the time on my iPhone. I sing along to one of my favourite songs, You Gave Me a Mountain.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you, David. That's my favourite
Absolutely.
too.
Excellent,
Great record.
Excellent work, David. Can't imagine...
The version of CC Rider on that record is unbelievable.
It's hard to think back to imagine how much the world's changed where the man was arrested for thrusting his hips during his songs. That's a revolution in thought in a period of, 80 years, isn't it? 90 years.
Exactly. Well, let's spend some time together. It was the lyrics the Stones had to do when they were on live TV. That's crazy.
Let's check traffic, and when we return, we'll be going behind closed doors.
Thanks, Will. Croydon Park got a smash on the north-south motorway on-ramp from Regency Road. It's down to one lane, heavy delays inbound, avoided if you can. Salisbury Downs, another collision. This one's on Kings Road near the Salisbury Highway. McGill burst water main, Penfold Road near McGill Road. Penfold Road is close to Giles Street and detours in place. And we've got another burst water main. This one's at South Plimpton Cross Road near Marion Road. Speeds reduced both directions. Keep your eye out for a camera to East Terrace at Henley Beach. Harris Scarf's 4-day sale starts today. Enjoy hot deals on homewares, Manchester, electrical, clothing and more. That's great brands at great prices. Sale ends this Friday at Harris Scarf. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 7-seat Isuzu MUX is born to tow. With 3.5-ton towing capacity, trailer sway control and a reversing camera as standard across the range. Hurry to your local Isuzu Ute dealer today.
G'day South Australia, the Cheats here. Over the years I've seen some great South Australian teams, but the best has to be the team from BL Shipway, who I've known for over 30 years. They've been looking after the state's hydraulic and pneumatic needs since 1953. You can find them on Richmond Road with stock on hand from quality brands like Ryco, Rexroth, Hydac and Enerpac. If you can't get to them, they'll send a Ryco 24/7 van to you anytime, anywhere. blshipway.com.au, a South Australian team you can count on.
Lidham's Dental says many people lose all confidence in themselves from having damaged or rotten teeth and an unattractive smile. They're afraid of job interviews, going on a date, or a father anxious about walking his daughter down the aisle.
But how's this? Lidham's Dental's all-on-4 treatment transforms smiles, but it also transforms lives. It's simple, it's comfortable, with ways to make it affordable, and it only takes 1 day.
If you'd like to learn more, be listening to our 5AA Interactive Lounge this afternoon with Jade Robran. Lidham's Dental representatives will be on the air and taking your calls off air.
So new smile and new you in just 24 hours. Visit lidhamsdental.com.au or catch the Lidham's Dental Interactive Lounge today only with Jade Robran.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, we have specialised in commercial and residential property management. But above all, we specialise in people, helping to make life easy for property investors and the tenants of their properties. Everyone is treated with integrity and respect. That's the Lynn Andrews way. For commercial and residential property management, we are here to help. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
It pays to have a Credit Union SA 12-month term deposit account. As in, it literally pays 3% interest per annum. Invest as little as $5,000 and we can give you 3% interest per annum. It doesn't get any easier than that. Invest a minimum of $5,000 and we'll give you 3% interest per annum. And now the legally stuff. Minimum $5,000 investment. T's and C's apply. That was easy. Save your way with a Credit Union SA 12-month term deposit account.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Thanks to the Credit Union SA term deposit account with great interest per annum. T's and C's apply.
10 to 9, got a very funny text from my father a short time ago about stats over Elvis impersonators. So when Elvis died in 1977, there were 150 Elvis impersonators in the United States. Now, there are 85,000 in the United States. 85,000 Elvis impersonators, which means 1 in every 3,400 Americans is an Elvis impersonator. If Elvis impersonators continue multiplying at the same rate, they will account for a third of the world's population by 2022.
There was also that they're going to be like the new master race. I remember years ago reading the Excellent Sun newspaper an interview with a chap called Peter Singh, who was a Sikh, and he became the first Sikh Indian Elvis impersonator. And he had the full rhinestone outfit, but he had the Sikh turban on. But he did the Elvis accent beautifully. But he rewrote lyrics in the sort of 1950s rockabilly style. One of which went, "I don't smoke dope, I don't drink bourbon, all I want to do is shake my turban, let's rock." That was one of his tunes, Peter Singh, the first Indian Elvis.
Far be it for I to tell Sportsbet how to conduct their business because they've made a lot of money doing it, so I think they know what they're doing. Although I reckon they've missed a trick here with this market. You can bet on who is the masked singer, the various different outfits and costumes. Famously, Rudy Giuliani was the Jack in the Box in the US. That was controversial. He's not one of the people you can bet on who is the mirror ball here in Australia. It's clearly a female vocalist. For example, if you think it's Kylie Minogue, Sportsbet will give you 6 to 1. 6 to 1 if you think it's Kylie Minogue. If you think it's Danny Minogue, they'll give you 13 to 1. Jessica Mauboy, 15 to 1. Obviously a good voice. They think it might be someone who can really sing. Gwen Stefani, 21s, less likely, big name.
No doubt.
Beck Hewitt, actress, wife of Leighton. 26 to 1, they've got Olivia Newton-John. Now, I reckon that's a little skinny. I don't know how Emma Bunton feels as coming in at 34 to 1, the former Spice
Have they
Girl.
listed that today?
I believe that's current.
Deary me.
I just think, look, they
Well,
know what they're
under a rock.
They know what they're doing. They make a lot of money, but I just reckon that I reckon those odds are a little bit skinny.
I sincerely hope that's not some crass marketing ploy by that betting company. With their propensity for sort of low rent gags, it might be, but it's pretty tasteless if it is.
Could be, could well be. Okay, let's before we go behind closed doors, let's get someone in the running for food, fuel, or the footy. Thanks to the fantastic people at Foodland, the mighty South Aussies. 8223 0000 is the number. Get calling now. First person through gets to pick their prize. In the meantime, we're going to go behind closed doors thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight, distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed,
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
And welcome back to 5AA Breakfast. And David Penberthy, welcome back to you too.
Yeah, g'day, Will. How you going?
Oh, really well, David.
FIVEAA.
A few things around today. The red panda that escaped from the zoo. We'll look at that this morning.
Yeah, Ravi, the red panda. We must have watched that video of the panda falling out of the tree after the tranquiliser dart hit it about 176 times. I watched it with my young kids. It's the funniest video.
It was amazing.
There's nothing funnier than a red panda falling 30 feet into a blanket.
Yep.
It's funnier than the two Ronnies.
Also today...
Love watching animals being shot with my family.
Security at airports is under review after that shooting in Canberra.
I think they need to move the security area back. I mean, in Adelaide, you can just walk right up to...
Yeah, move it back to IKEA.
Yeah, that'd be good. I wish IKEA had security. It would stop me from going in.
Yes.
I'd love to be told, sorry, sir, we don't like the look of you. You're not coming in. I'd say, thank you. I don't have to spend 4 hours walking around in circles looking for annoying things to put together with an Allen key.
8223 0000 if you'd
That's
like.
$1.5 billion worth of annoying.
Yes.
I just hate it when companies make it easy to take furniture home. I'd much rather wait for a truck to arrive or not.
Surveys are showing that teachers are stressed by the added pressures of online learning due to the pandemic.
Yeah, I was talking to a lecturer the other day. He was saying how he misses the theatre of teaching, and that's why they're called lecture theatres. They're not called lecture Zoom cams.
No.
They're theatres in the same way that Shakespeare did his work, with a crowd of people.
Yep.
As opposed to 40 kids dotted around suburbia with their laptops.
Yeah.
I'd love to go back to Shakespearean times. A lot better than it is now. No damn laptops. No annoying flat packs to put together.
Yep.
No computers to go wrong.
Yep.
Go out on a Saturday with the family and watch one of the neighbours get burnt at the stake for being Catholic. Great times.
Yep.
Not ruined by technology and modern thinking.
Nice hearing a bit of Procol Harum at the start there too.
That was good.
Andrew in Mansfield Park has called in. First caller through. Food, fuel, or the footy. Andrew, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, Dave.
Now, what are you going to do?
Food, please.
You're going to take the food. $200 worth of food coming your way. Thanks to Foodland, with more stores close to home and everyday low prices. Great food lives at Foodland, the mighty South Aussies. You got something coming up, Andrew, or you just got a hefty grocery bill at the moment?
No, I'm in COVID ISO, so...
Mate.
Just put on, order online and get it delivered, so I'm happy.
Fair enough. So, is this the first time you've got it, or you've got a second bout?
No, this is my first lot.
Oh, you've done well to get to now.
I have no symptoms whatsoever, and I'm just at home doing nothing. It's great.
How did you even know that you had it, mate? Did you feel a bit oomy for a while?
No, I had a chest infection a couple of weeks ago, and I've been keeping an eye on it. A few friends that got COVID, and last week I felt really nauseous, so I did a rat, and it come up positive straight away, so I did a PCR hoping that the rat was wrong, and it was right.
I mean, apart from listening to 5AA, how are you keeping yourself entertained, mate?
YouTube and Stranger Things, really, yeah.
How far are you through Stranger Things? You're not at the end yet, are you?
No, I'm still going through the last season. I'm probably about 4 or 5 episodes in, so
yeah, enjoy.
It's interesting.
Good season. Good on you, Andrew. Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
Andrew in Mansfield Park, winner of the 5AA's Food, Fuel, or the Footy prize. We've got
Speaking
some
of
fuel to check in for you, or thanks to
some fuel for thought.
There you go. All South Aussies can find the cheapest fuel in an instant. Download the free MyRAA app. The cheapest of these, the BP On The Run Northeast Road Modbury, $1.49.9. The Ampol Main South Road O'Halloran Hill, $1.44.9. That's pretty good. The United Grange Road Flinders Park, $1.49.5. If you get it for under $1.50, just fill up. Do yourself a favour. The diesel, it has come down markedly from where it was. It just trickles down though. The OTR Commercial Road Shido Park, we've seen it for $1.83.9. So you can get your diesel for in that $1.80 range at the moment.
Good stuff, as always, Will. Thanks to everybody who tuned in this morning on the Credit Union live stream on Facebook and YouTube to see our charming mugs in all their glory. And we'll come back and do it all again tomorrow, won't we, Will? Might have another fight.
It concerns me how you asked me that. No, we won't be. Yes, we will be.
I just thought after that Blakey sketch, he correctly identified your somewhat world-weary tone as like plunged headlong into anecdote number 4 for the morning.
No, I thought watching Ravi was excellent. Leon Bonner is coming up. Will there be more excellence tomorrow morning from 6 o'clock?
Whether you live south of or near the city, when it comes to driving a new Mitsubishi, you have 2 clear standouts. Wayville Mitsubishi on Goodwood Road and Southern Mitsubishi on South Road.